We're live. Let's go. Hello. How are we this evening, ladies and germs? Hold on, that's my YouTube. Should like. Oh, look at this. Look at this guy. Oh, ad blockers. Boo. Boo. If I refresh, it'll work, I bet. And that's what we're doing today. Music. Watch me make my Game Jolt post in real time. Because I'm bored. Game Jolt musicians. Oh, yeah, that's me. YouTubers. I'm a YouTuber. I'm sharing my videos. Isn't there like a music? Yeah, there's music. Now playing. Boom shakalaka. And hold on a sec. Let me just. Wow. Look at me. Look how big I am. Oh, cool. Look at my cat back there. Right on top of my albums. Ooh, my room is messy. Don't look at that. Look at how my messy. Don't look at how messy my room is. God, my face is huge. Yoink. Ping. Okay. Uh-oh. Whoops. Whoopsies. Oh god. Oh god. Oh. Oh god. Oh. Oh jeez. Oh god. Oh great. No. Oh god. I'm fudging it all up, aren't I? God, I'm a screw up. Look at me getting smaller. I'm getting smaller. And there we go. Hello, everyone. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Why is that doing that? Alright, I guess that's just how that's gonna be now. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sam, superhero. Welcome to my stream. Welcome to my stream. We're gonna be streaming. I'm gonna wait for some people to appear. I'm waiting for some people to appear. I forgot to send my stream to some people. Oh well. We're gonna be late night chilling, late night yapping. I don't really care if anyone joins. I just want to yap. I'm bored. So that's what we're doing today. We're just chilling. And if you wanna come chill with me, that'd be awesome. I'm just gonna be chilling. I'm gonna be talking about a lot of music today. Not gonna be playing any video games. Not gonna be playing any video games. Just gonna be yapping about music. I have, hold on, let me count how many artists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 artists. 7 artists we're gonna be talking about today. Tier listing all of their albums on a tier list. Hello, Game Master, Master of Game. Welcome on to the stream, where we be streaming. Oh yeah. We're just gonna be waiting a bit for people. Maybe like 3 more minutes. It should be good, and then I'll just get right on into it. I'll get into my little spiel here, or I'll stop just kind of yammering, and I'll get to the point. Let me let my cat out of my room real quick. Watch my chair real quick, chat. Chat, watch my chair. Be good. Get out of my room. The cat is out of my room. Alright. Hello, people. Welcome, welcome. Alright. I think we've waited plenty long. I think. What time is it? 2 more minutes. Dos minutos. God, time is moving so slow today. Why is time going so slowly? Today's been so boring. That's why I'm doing this stream for the most part, because I can't think of anything better to do. And I'm super bored. It's been one of those days where everything's just so boring. It's kind of warm, like warm to the point where like you can't really focus on nothing. All right, well, I think we're gonna start now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I don't know how many people are actually on the stream. I am streaming quite late today. That's because I freaking can, dude. I freaking can. Not a reference to Can Dude. We will forget about Can Dude. But yeah, welcome on the stream. I'm going to be yapping a lot this stream, so if you don't really want to listen to me yap, I suggest you skip this one. I did a poll not too long ago. I think I did it on YouTube. I think I also did it on Game Jolt. Somewhere I did it. Where I said, hey, would you guys want to see me do like music-related content? And talk about albums? What's going on? Like talk about albums? And music, just like music in general, do some tier lists, album tier lists. Would that be something you guys are interested to? And unanimously, everyone said yes. So here we are. Finally doing some tier lists. I'll let you guys know which artists we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing Kid Cudi. We're going to be doing Tyler, the Creator. Radiohead. Lil Ugly Mane. Logic. Arctic Monkeys. And then Death Grips. We're going to start with Kid Cudi. And we're just going to move and go on, go forth. We're going to see where the wind may take us. So, to begin, let's start. Let's talk about each individual. I'm going to talk about each individual album, and this is my opinion. This is my opinion. And I'm going to try to, maybe some of you guys that haven't heard of any of these artists, any of these albums, I'm going to describe them, what they sound like, my favorite songs from each, my least favorite songs from each, why I like them, why I might not like them, and why I think you should give them a listen if I think they're worthy of other people's ears. Starting off with Kid Cudi, his very first debut mixtape, not album, came out before his first album, A Kid Named Cudi. People probably know this album for the song Maui Wowie, which blew up this past year for some reason. I don't really know why. Out of all the songs on this thing, that one. Why? I mean, it's a good song, but like, alright. It's a pretty solid album. It's definitely a very young sounding Kid Cudi. It sounds like Man on the Moon, which makes sense because Man on the Moon, there's a lot of songs on this album that ended up on Man on the Moon. Day and Night, all of the deluxe tracks, and I think like maybe 1 or 2 more. Every other song in here is quite nice. Like again, Maui Wowie is a good song. Cleveland's the Reason is another one. I don't really have much to say about this album because out of all of these, this is the one that I've kind of listened to the least just because it's, I don't know, it's not really one of his albums. It's a mixtape, and for a while, I don't think it even was on like streaming services, and I just never bothered to hear it. I never really bothered to listen to it. But I mean, if you want to listen to it, I think you're going to find yourself having a good time. It's definitely Kid Cudi at his like least Kid Cudi, I would say. But well, for the time anyway. There's definitely some later albums that sound nothing like Kid Cudi, but we'll get to those. I'd put this in B. This is a very solid B tier album. Hold on, I'm gonna do that actually. I feel like that's a bit better. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Okay. Next, Man on the Moon 1. There's a lot of songs, like I just said, from A Kid Named Cudi that end up on Man on the Moon. And it's a very, very good album, of course. It's a classic. Man on the Moon is a very classic album. And I don't know if it was it the first Kid Cudi album I ever heard? I think I heard Kids See Ghosts before this, which isn't like an entirely Kid Cudi album. But I mean, I guess this was the first solo Kid Cudi album that I heard. And it's a classic for a reason. It's very good. One of the most consistently good albums, and I think that actually kind of plays into its faults a little bit. This album is so consistently good that a lot of the songs that aren't like just incredible kind of fall to the wayside. Like there's songs like Heart of a Lion, Higher, TGIF, Simple As. A lot of those songs are just low-key a little bit boring compared to the other ones that are just like really good, like Solo Dolo, Day and Night, Pursuit of Happiness, Up Up and Away, Intergalactic. Songs like those are super good, and getting to those points can be a bit boring, especially with some, like I said, some of the songs are just kind of lull points. Still very good on their own, but it's never like songs I would go back to unless I'm doing like a full album listen. And in that case, like I said, it is a bit boring in between those like super duper good songs, which thankfully is not very long. I'd still put this album in A tier. This album is fantastic. Definitely a must listen, absolutely. Like, do listen to this album. You have to listen to this album. Very, very good. Very spacey also. I think Soundtrack to My Life and In My Dreams is a great way to open it. And it remains a very consistent vibe throughout the whole thing. And similarly, Man on the Moon 2. Man on the Moon 2 is a lot darker of a project. It's a lot more depressive, I guess is a good word. It's darker, it's more eerie. The beats are a lot more like, the production's very different. It sounds, like I said, eerie. Lyrics depressing. Because of the time where Kid Cudi was making this, he was not in like the best mental state and was definitely probably doing some substances or two. That being said, though, I think this is one of Kid Cudi's best albums and is easily my favorite out of the three, which is funny because when I first heard this album, I didn't like it. Don't know why I didn't like it. It's fantastic. There's the highs on this album are higher than the ones on Man on the Moon 1. Mr. Rager is fantastic. Ghost is so good. Maniac, so good. The opener, Scott Mescudi versus the World. The End. Ashton Kutcher, Mojo So Dope. All of these songs are incredible. And I find that the moments in between the incredible songs are a lot more interesting, just because the quality is a little more varied on this album. But I'd rather have varied quality that's at least like interesting, that makes me want to listen to it, to come back to it, to see if I actually like it. Because if it's interesting and I'm not like blown away by it at first, that means I'm gonna want to come back to it. Unlike something on Man on the Moon 1 where everything is just good. Like, I know that's good. I've heard it like once. I like it, but like there's so many other songs I'd rather listen to. I don't really want to come back to this because I already know it's good, but like it's not one of my favorites. Stuff on here, there are some songs that are weaker, like The Mood is one, and Wildin' 'Cause I'm Young is a song that's on here that I'm just not crazy for. The beats on both of these songs, though, are quite good. It's just mostly Kid Cudi's like vocal performance and the lyrics on The Mood. But like they're interesting songs. It's a lot more unique production-wise than Man on the Moon 1, and I definitely recommend this more. I'm gonna put that in S. That is a top 3 Cudi album for me for sure. Top 3. It is very, 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 very good. Next is Wizard. This is a very interesting album. Very interesting album. It is one of 3 Kid Cudi albums that are not hip hop, they're rock. It is a rock album, and it is my least favorite of the 3, I think. It's the roughest production-wise. Kid Cudi has some very strange vocal performances on some of these songs, like Break is one of his worst songs. Break is a terrible song. I hate that song. And another one is Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which I think is a cover of a song. And by God, it sucks. Holy moly, it sucks. There are some songs here that are genuinely really good, like High Off Life, Dream Time Machine, Teleport to Me, Jamie. All those songs are phenomenal. Listen to Teleport to Me, Jamie. So good. But a lot of the songs that are just here range from terrible to all right. And that's pretty much it. I mean, besides those standout tracks that I said were really good, there's just not a whole lot that this album has that makes me want to come back to it. Although it is very interesting of a project. It's a really interesting project, but like, it's just very poor quality. And I'm gonna put it in the C tier because it's just because there's something there that like there's value to it. You're gonna get something out of that experience, even though it's not great. You're gonna put me on an album? What album? It's just like, I don't know, not great, not great. But I would recommend it just because of the experience that it brings. Next is Indicud. Now, for the longest time, this was my favorite Kid Cudi album, and it still kind of is. It's a toss-up between this one and another one that we will get to. I'm going to put it S tier above Man on the Moon 2. The production on this thing is its main selling point. It's entirely produced by Kid Cudi, and it sounds so industrial and heavy, and it sounds sort of like, if you've ever heard Yeezus by Kanye West, it's similar, but way better than Yeezus. Yeezus is very mid. Listen to one. I'll put you in one. Alright. It's much more unique than the rest of these because of the production mostly. It's also a very long album. I'm blanking on the amount. There's like 18 different songs in this thing. Not all of them are good. And you're gonna find out via the many tier lists that I'm gonna be making through this stream that you're gonna find that I would much rather listen to an album that has a bunch of bad songs but is interesting than a bunch of alright songs but they're boring. I'd much rather listen to an album like that. And this, while this isn't all boring or all bad songs that are just interesting, no, the good songs in this thing are interesting, and yes, the bad songs are interesting, but there's very few. There's 2 songs I would consider bad on this album. There's one, which is the closing track, Flight of the Moon Man, I think is what it's called. It's an instrumental song. It's one of Kid Cudi's instrumentals, and it's definitely one of his worst instrumentals. It's the first minute of it is nothing, literally just nothing, and then the second half is a very terrible beat with a bunch of space noises, and it ends far too quick. The other song is the song Girls, which, it has a good beat for the most part. Kid Cudi has an alright verse. The chorus is kind of bad, but it's kind of growing on me, not gonna lie. The song, the part of this song that really sucks is the Too Short feature on it. Too Short is a rapper, and this song makes me wish that he wasn't, because it is, dear God, it is one of the most uncomfortable verses I've ever had to sit through. He sounds so awkward, and the lyrics, yikes, yikes. If I was a woman, I would not want to be in the same room as Too Short after listening to that verse, because yikes. But the rest of this album, phenomenal. Just What I Am, Unfuckwittable, Young Lady is a great one, Immortal, Solo Dolo Part 2, Lord of the Sad and Lonely is one of his hardest songs. He goes hard on that song. Burn Baby Burn, Such good songs end up on his thing. Especially Just What I Am is probably my favorite Kid Cudi song ever, and I highly recommend you listen to that. That's a great ass song. Definitely very solid S tier. More people need to listen to this. Very good. Very good. Do you know Godspeed You Black Emperor? I do. I haven't really checked out any of their stuff, but I do know of them. They actually performed at a venue not too far from where I live recently. Next is Satellite Flight, The Journey to Mother Moon. This album is very interesting and also kind of nostalgic to me. And I don't really know why, because I don't really have any memories associated with this album that would make that happen. But it just kind of is. It sounds like something I've heard before. This album is, I believe it is Kid Cudi's shortest album besides Kids See Ghosts, obviously. It's 40 minutes, 10 songs, and it's a mix of like hip hop and rock. It's a mix of the two genres. 4 out of the 10 songs in this album are instrumental, and I think that is a bad thing, because 2 of these instrumentals are pretty worthless. Yeah, the opening track, I think it's called Mother Moon, or Destination Mother Moon. That one's like okay. And then there's In My Dreams 2015, which is like, why does this exist? This is like the most obscure Kid Cudi song ever. The other 2 are very good though. Copernicus Landing and Return of the Moon Man are both incredible songs, incredible instrumental tracks. And the rest of the actual songs on here are very good. Ballman Jeans is a song that took a while to grow on me, but the instrumental and the chorus is phenomenal. The verses are a bit weird, but very good. And that's something about this album that really shines, is the production of it, because it sounds the most spacey. It sounds like you're in outer space. This album does a great job at creating like a soundscape, and it sounds like the most cosmic of any Kid Cudi album. It sounds like you're in outer space, like very, very much so. And because of that, I think it's a pretty great album. Very underrated also, but I don't think I can comfortably put it in the A tier, because it's definitely not on par with the quality of the albums that are going to be going there, especially Man on the Moon 1. I'm going to put this in B tier, but above Kid Named Cudi. I think more people do need to listen to this project. Pretty underrated. And Going to the Ceremony is fantastic, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Too Bad I Have to Destroy You Now, which is just an amazing song. 6 minutes. It's probably the most spacey song on here. Probably the best song. Listen to that one if you want to check out anything from this album. Next is Speedin' Bullet to Heaven. This is an album that many people hate. A lot of people despise this album with a passion. I, on the other hand, now hear me out. Please hear me out. I think this is his best album currently. It flip-flops between the two. I think this is an amazing album. Not because, well, kind of because of the songs, but because of the lyrics. The lyrics on this thing really do it. This was made at a time in Kid Cudi's life where he thought he was going to kill himself. And this was the album that he was going to make before he died, or he was going to kill himself. He eventually did not kill himself, as he would go on to make more music, go to rehab, get better, and now he's happy. But this album is where all the emotions kind of culminated and turned into what he has quoted. He's gone on record to say, this album is a cry for help, and you can really tell. The production of this thing is quite rough, but I think that very much so adds to the appeal of this album and adds to the feeling of just pure raw depression. Sounds baseline at best. I mean, you kind of just like when I heard it, I didn't like it either. But then I went through a period of my life where I was really just out of it. I really just didn't really want to be here anymore. And this album, I listened to this album, it didn't make me feel better, because this album is not an album you listen to feel good. But it's an album that kind of helped me through it. And I owe a lot to this album. It's got some great tracks on it. It has some amazing songs on here. Like Man of the Night, Confused, of course. I think closing track Melting is is phenomenal. The beat on that thing will immediately put you in a bad mood, but in like the best way. It's so good. There are some songs on here that are trash. Don't get me wrong. There are some songs in here that are trash. The Return of Chip Douglas is one of, if not the worst song I've ever heard. And it doesn't really like make much sense into the I guess vibe of this album, like narrative, I guess. You're absolutely glazing when you say lift your skinny fists is what got you out of that stage too. I'll check that out then, because I like albums that do that to people. That kind of sounds a little bit weird out of context, but I like a lot of that kind of music. You should listen to We Cry Together by Kendrick Lamar. I have that album on vinyl. But yeah, I'd also be remiss if I didn't talk about the title track of this album, which is my favorite song from here. What's good, MC? The title track on Speeding Bullet to Heaven is a incredibly sad yet also beautiful song, which has very minimal lyrics. But the lyrics that are there are really well crafted in how they're presented. Part of the song goes, the chorus is "If I crash or if I land, I'm all smiles," essentially, and that gradually changes throughout the song to "When I crash, when I land." And I think the way that does that is really underrated. That's like, I don't know, that says a lot. I don't know, that really resonates with me. But I think Speeding Bullet, for right now, it flip-flops back and forth between the two of these, but I think it's his best album at the moment. It's just, I owe a lot to it, and it means a lot to me. And that's pretty much it. The next is Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying. This is an album that I've only recently started to get into. I wasn't really a big fan of it when I first heard it, but then I started listening to it more. I got it on vinyl, and then because I have pretty much every Kid Cudi album on vinyl at the moment, so might as well just get them all, just to have the complete discography. And I got this one, and I spun it a couple of times, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think I get what the appeal of this album is now. This album is not a lyrically driven album like every other Kid Cudi album is. It's similar to, if you've heard Insano, we'll talk about Insano. It's very similar to Insano, yet better. It's a more well-crafted version of Insano. I think the biggest like turn off of this album for me at the time when I originally started hearing it is its length. It's 19 songs. It's an hour and 26 minutes. That is crazy. I don't really care for long albums besides Speed and Bullet. I like Speed and Bullet. And, well, these two albums are quite long. But this is just way, way too long. For what it is, like, Speed and Bullet, every song, there's pretty much every song, he's saying something. Every song's different. He's saying something. It's unique. It feels like you're looking into his soul and, like, reading what he, like, listening to his soul. This album is just very minimal lyrics. Songs that are way too long than they need to be. Most songs in this thing are like 4 to 5 minutes, which they really do not need to be. However, there are some fantastic songs on this thing. There are also some pretty mid songs. This album can be quite boring at times, though I do think that the beats on this thing are its main selling point, and they are very, very nice. Most of them. Some of them are kind of forgettable, but a lot of them are very good. And this is definitely an album that, like, you need to vibe to. And it's definitely background music, but it's the best kind of background music. I'm going to put it in the B tier behind Satellite Flight. I wouldn't recommend this for most people, but if it sounds like something that you'd be interested in, I don't think you'd have a bad time with it. By Design, especially, fantastic song. Kitchen, fantastic song. Surfin', Flight at First Sight / Advanced, which I think Advanced is better. The Commander, really good songs. There's not, like, all the bad songs on here. I mean, I wouldn't even say they're bad. They're just, like, really mid and boring and very unnoteworthy. Like, Distant Fantasies is one, and I guess The Guide and Dance for Eternity also. But Other than that, it's like everything kind of blends together a bit and starts to sound the same by the end because of how long the project is. Next is Kids See Ghosts, which most of you probably know. Very short album. It's a collaboration with Kanye West, which I'm not going to be ranking today. I just didn't really feel like. I think my OBS just disconnected. For a bit. I think I'm back now. That was weird. That hasn't happened before. Well, it has, but not in a while. That was really weird. Yeah, I definitely recommend that you listen to this album. It's kind of like a must listen. Only 7 songs. There are some moments on this thing that do drag quite a bit. Like Reborn, which a lot of people say is the best song on here. Could not disagree more. Reborn is one of the lesser good songs in this thing. It really drags. It's 5 minutes when it should only really be like 3. It's like 1 or 2 verses, and then the rest of it is just Kid Cudi saying the same thing for 3 minutes straight, and literally nothing happens. It's pretty boring. The other one is Fire. Fire is just kind of a song that exists. Don't really have anything to say about that. But yeah, Ghost Town Part 2 is probably my favorite on here besides the title track, and Cudi Montage are also great. The highs on this thing are very high, and they're very plentiful. Besides those 2 songs, every song here is virtually perfect. But I'm not going to put an S just because it's just way too short. It's just way too short. Like, it would be probably better than these if it was longer. And I just don't... I think the quality of Man on the Moon clears this one. Not by much, but I'm going to put it there for now. Next is Man on the Moon 3. I really like Man on the Moon 3. I wish I liked it more than I did, but I'm still going to put an A above Kids See Ghosts. Right there. This album is a very trap-influenced album. It sounds very much so like a Travis Scott project, and I think he's on 1 or 2 songs on this album too, which is kind of neat. The highs on here are super high. Solo Dolo 3, Tequila Shots, The Void, Lovin' Me. Lord I Know is so good. There's probably ones that I'm just forgetting. Pale Moonlight, one of his best bangers just ever. There's not really any, like, dull moments on here. Well, there are some. Like, I think LC's Baby Boy is, like, commonly considered one of the lesser good songs on here. And there are definitely some skips on it. Like, I think Dive and Another Day are kind of skips. And I'm not a big fan of Heaven and Earth and Damaged. Not a big fan of those. And Show Out's good. September 16th, not crazy for that. Rockstar Nights could do without. When Trippie Redd is on a song, I'm always very hesitant to listen to it. But overall, this thing is fantastic. It's like, it has too many flaws to be up with the S tiers. And again, the quality of Man on the Moon is just so consistently good, and the highs are just so incredibly high that it just, Man on the Moon 3 just can't. It gets close, but it just kind of can't. Would recommend. That's my take. Next is Intergalactic. This album is very, 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 very boring. I'm going to put it in D. I think this is Kid Cudi's worst album. I think it is. There's like 2 or 3 songs on here that are worth anything, and the rest are just blend together, sound the exact same, or are just outright bad, I think. Those songs that are good be New Mode, Do What I Want, and In Love. And the rest of them, I just don't like. It sounds like the worst parts of Man on the Moon 3, but the production is stripped back. And there's a lot more singing on this project, I feel. It just doesn't work out in the end. This is a soundtrack for a TV show. It probably works for the TV show great. But honestly, I do not care for this project whatsoever. And I really struggle to want to listen to it. And whenever I do listen to it, I'm bored out of my mind for the most part. It's not F, though, because, I mean, there's quality to be found here. There's something of value here. Though, I think this is a far less interesting project than even Wizard. And that's just not something that I look for in music whatsoever. Next is Insano. Insano is not an album I liked when I first listened to it, but given time, I find that this is very similar to Passion, Pain, and Demon Slain, where it's not really a beat-centric album because the beats on Passion Pain solo the beats on Insano by a long shot. It's just a bunch of trap beats, pretty for the most part pretty generic trap beats and weird song structures. It's a very long album tracklist wise. It's only like an hour, but there's like 20 songs on here. And by the end of it, they all sound the same. But if you pick out individual songs from this thing and just kind of listen to them on their own outside of the context of the album, that's where this thing kind of shines. Because there are some bangers on here. There are some very good songs. The opening and closing track, Electro Wave Baby, Porsche Topless, Wow, Funky Wizard Smoke. Love all those tracks. Those are very good songs. There are some tracks on here that do suck balls, like 7, X and Cud. There's a few others on here that I forget because they're so forgettable. Yeah, that's pretty much this album's biggest sin. Funky Wizard Smoke is peak. It's also probably one of the more chill songs on it. You'd probably like it. It's pretty good. I'm going to give this C tier above Wizard. I think it's better than Wizard. But I can't give it anything above this just because creative-wise, and especially lyrics-wise, Kid Cudi's always known for his, like, introspective lyrics talking about, like, emotions, mental health, all of that stuff, like, personal crap, whatnot. There is almost none of that to be found on Insano. Virtually nothing is there for that. Next, though, we have Insano 2, aka Insano Nitro Mega is what it's actually called. This is a better project than Insano. I think it's better, actually. Not by much. It's not much better. It just sounds more creatively there, and I think the songs don't blend together as much, which immediately makes it better for me. A lot of the songs here are very stand out, like I Just Want to Get is one of my favorites on here. What's another one that's really good? Frick, I'm blanking. They don't blend together, I promise. But I Just Want to Get is a very good song. There are some bad songs on here, though. Unlike, well, similarly to Insano, but I think the low points on Insano Nitro Mega are much lower. Electro Wave Baby 2 is... Okay, I need to talk about this song. Electro Wave Baby 2 is genuinely one of Kid Cudi's worst songs. It is so bad. It's a remix of Electro Wave Baby from Insano. But you know what it sounds like? You know what the song sounds like? You ever see those videos, right? Those, like, reels where it's like... My cat is meowing. Hello. Look, there she is. The song sounds like those reels. Like, you ever see those reels where it's, like, department stores playing the worst possible remixes ever, and it's that Sweet... You know that Sweet Caroline, like, dubstep remix that sucks? It sounds exactly like that. It sounds like the worst 2010s dubstep remix, like, literally ever. And it is god-awful. The other song is Willis. That song sucks, but it's clearly a joke, so I can excuse it a bit more. But yeah, this album does stick out quite a bit. There's also some songs on here that were scrapped songs from the Wizard and Man on the Moon 1 eras. And those songs are actually quite good. Not so much the Wizard one because it's Wizard, but Dose of Dopeness from 2007 from the Kid Named Cudi Man on the Moon era. That's a very good song. I would put this in C tier above Insano. It's not much better, but it is noticeably better. What? What do you want? The last album, which is Kid Cudi's newest album, is called Free. It came out last year, 2025, in August or September, somewhere around there. But this album, when singles started to drop, I listened to the song Neverland, and I thought, oh no, it's radio trash. Oh god, this sounds like ass. This is his third rock album. I don't think I said it, but the other one is Speed and Bullet to Heaven. That's another, like, punk rock grunge album. This one's more like poppier, like pop rock sort of album. This is easily Kid Cudi's happiest album. And when it dropped, I was honestly blown away with the quality of it. Like, I thought it was gonna suck, and while that song Neverland does suck a little bit, it's growing on me, but it's still not great. I think the rest of this thing is phenomenal. Honestly. Like, Mr. Miracle is such an amazing song. Highly recommend it. I'm really honestly surprised at how little of a splash this album made. Like, it made even less of a splash than these two albums. I would put this in A above Kids See Ghosts. I can't put it above Man on the Moon 3 just because the highs on this thing are so high and so plentiful. And while the highs on this thing are also very high, it's just much shorter of an album. And I feel like a lot of the songs in here are pretty good, but not like amazing. There are some amazing songs here, don't get me wrong. Mr. Miracle, Submarine, Truman Show, Saltwater. Those songs are great. Though the rest of the songs, well, not really many bad songs. Like, it's pretty much just Neverland that's bad. And it took me a while to get used to the song Stargazing because of the instrumental on it. But the pre-chorus part, or the chorus, whatever, I don't really know. But if you've heard the song, you know the part I'm talking about. That one part of the song is really good. The rest of it, though, while I do think the rest of it is noteworthy, like, every song in here adds something, which is a lot more that I can say about stuff like Passion Pain. I just don't think the quality of it is quite there with Man on the Moon 3. But I do think this album is genuinely, like, surprising with how good it was. And I think that is my Kid Cudi tier list finished. Take a look. If you disagree, I don't really care. Next, Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, the Creator is one of the first artists I ever really got into. And an artist that I'm still listening to this day when I got into him many years ago. And he has one of the most interesting discographies out of any artist today, honestly. Starting with Bastard. I think it's his worst album. I do think Goblin is a better project. I'll get to that. But let's talk about Bastard. Bastard is an uncomfortable listen. Not because of the lyrics. Well, Sarah. Not because of the lyrics besides Sarah. But because his vocal performances mixed with the production just don't sound very good. Like, there are some moments on this thing that are very good. Like, I think the 3-track run from 7, Odd Toddlers, and French, I think those 3 songs are very, very good. Every other song on this thing ranges from boring to insultingly bad. And that's what I think Bastard is. You do get something out of this because this is a very interesting project. However, I do think there's an album that does what this album tries to do a lot better, which is Goblin. I'm gonna put it in D. I think you'd be better off listening to Goblin. I just don't like this album very much at all. Though, because it has worth, because it has more than like 2 good songs, I'm gonna put it in D. Next is Goblin. I think Goblin is a better album. How much better do I think it is? I think it is a C tier. Call me crazy, I don't care. This album, every song in here is interesting. Even if there are some ass songs in here, like BSD sucks. Window is 9 minutes, doesn't need to be. What's another one? Transylvania. I don't know. The lyrics on that one are just kind of cringe. There are probably some other ones I'm forgetting. Some of the deluxe tracks suck, but overall, I mean, I think this thing is a very fun just listen, like all the way through. Like, if you just pick out songs from this thing and listen to them individually, you're gonna find that you probably don't like it as much. I think it is much more rewarding to just listen to the album all the way through. Songs like Yonkers, Radicals, Analog, She, obviously, which I think She is an overrated song, but still very good. Golden is a very underrated closer. AU79 is a very good instrumental track. There's probably more. I actually do I do enjoy the first half of the song Fish. I don't know, I just kind of like it. Nightmare is a great song. Sandwiches is alright. Tron Cat, I think, is fun. I don't know, I think that song is kind of fun. Now the opening track, I want to talk about the opening track. The title track, Goblin. Does a very similar thing that Bastard does. Bastard has a very long opening track that, if you've heard it, you know what I'm talking about. It's like pretty much Tyler just talking to his therapist, being all introspective and such. And it's probably the most popular song from Bastard, besides maybe Odd Toddlers. I've never jived with that track. I think it is very, very boring. Goblin does it so much better. The beat is actually like interesting, and I find what he's talking about to be more interesting than Bastard, and I think that's just what I think. I think it's C. It's like compared to everything else that would come after. Well, most of what would come after, pretty much everything that would come after, it's not as good. Just because, I mean, this album has aged like the dead for the most part. I mean, not for me. I still think it's a very fun listen, and I do listen to this thing from time to time, occasionally still. And I think there's something to be had here. I think it's mostly just a personal thing that I'm putting it above Bastard. If you like Bastard more, which I see most people do, then sure, I think I'd understand why. I don't know. I just like Goblin more. Next is Wolf. Wolf is a very good album. I really, 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 really like Wolf. It's got such a great vibe to it. This album sounds like if someone made a movie/documentary about your friend group. That's what this album sounds like. It also has a lot of summer vibes, which I do dig. I'm going to put this in A. I want to put an S, but it's not S. It's definitely not S. There's some moments that kind of do just kind of feel like a bit of filler. And not really like getting any off the top of my head here, but I don't know, I just don't think all of this album is amazing or like really all that. But there are some very good highs on this thing. Like obviously Tamale, Lone is one of his best closers. Jamba, Answer. I don't know if I already said that. I probably already said that. 48. The split track, whatever it's called. Party Isn't Over. Campfire, Beamer. I think Campfire is my favorite of the three, which I think is a hot take, but I don't really care. Overall, just a very solid project. Also very long, but honestly, I think that works in this album's favor when I say it sounds kind of like a movie. I think that kind of works because it sounds like it's building a narrative and it's paced very well. I think I'd highly recommend it. It's probably the first album that we ever heard that kind of sounded like where he would develop later down the road. Next is Cherry Bomb. If you knew anything about me, you know I love this album to bits. I would put this in S tier. This is one of his best albums, and I don't get the hate for it. I really don't get the hate for it. Some of my favorite Tyler songs end up on this thing, like Okage, California is his best closer, and I will not take no slack for that. Smuckers. The 3-track run from Death Camp, Buffalo, Pilot is perfect. Perfect way to open the album with those three. The title track sounds like Death Grips, and I like Death Grips. I really love the title track, and a lot of people don't, and I just makes me sigh. Two-Seater is phenomenal. The song that people know from this album and Over Glaze is Fucking Young / Perfect. That song, I like Perfect more than Fucking Young. It's just kind of, I don't know, it kind of makes me uncomfortable in like a weird sort of way. Like in a way that Goblin and Bastard don't. And I don't get why people like that so much, yet they hate Goblin. Oh well, it's one of my lesser favorites along with probably Keep the O's, which Keep the O's is a good song, but compared to the rest, it's just kind of meh. And then Run is an interlude. Find Your Wings is pretty good. It took me a while to get around to the track Blow My Load because it's called Blow My Load, but it has a very beautiful instrumental, and the beat switch on it, if you just listen to the instrumental, listen to that beat switch, you'll float. I guarantee it. This is one of his best albums. Production-wise, it's his most unique, and I don't think he'll ever get this raw again. Next, though, is Flower Boy. I like this album a lot. I'm going to put this above Wolf. I think it is better than Wolf. Though I think my opinion on which album is better flip-flops. But right now I think Flower Boy is definitely better just because the vibe is a lot more memorable, more enjoyable, I feel. Though it is a lot shorter of a project. It's the first new Tyler album. So it's very toned back lyrics. Very introspective lyrics also. this is infinite summer vibes. Like, if Wolf was summer vibes, this is like 2x summer vibes. It's very, 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 very good. Songs like Boredom, one of Tyler's best songs. The opening track, Forward, Where This Flower Blooms. See You Again, which is a very overplayed but still great song. I think the closing track is actually pretty underrated, Enjoy Right Now Today. It's just an instrumental, but it's very good at closing the album. Glitter, very good. 911 Mr. Lonely is very good. My favorite off of this is probably Boredom, though I do like Pothole a lot as well. This is kind of a must listen for just music fans in general. Like, if you haven't heard this album, you really, really need to. Moving on is Igor, which is obviously, I mean, it's his best. I don't really know anyone that would argue with that. There was a time where I thought Cherry Bomb was better. Why? Stop meowing. Where I thought Cherry Bomb was better than Igor, which I now disagree with, and I don't think that's just true. I just don't think that's true. But Igor is one of 3 albums I would consider a perfect 10 out of 10. It is a perfect 10 out of 10 album. Not a single song that isn't amazing. Not a single lull point. No boring moments. Everything is phenomenal. Ranges from phenomenal to life-changing stuff, honestly. That might be a bit glazed. I don't really care. This was the album that got me into albums in general. This is the album that made me realize, holy crap, wait, this is art. This isn't just something to turn on in the background. This is art. And that's what this album is art. It is a 10 for me. Next is Call Me If You Get Lost, which is Tyler's most overrated album, I think. There are some bangers on it, don't get me wrong, but I think for what it is, it's a bit long, and there's a lot of boring moments, and I think what kind of affects that for me is how much this album was kind of promoted and talked about. There was a 3-year gap between this and Chromacopia, and the estate sale also dropped, which was just more Call Me If You Get Lost, which I thought was really underwhelming. Sorry Not Sorry is his most overrated song ever. I just don't really get the appeal for it. Like, it's good, but like, I'm never just gonna listen to that because I think it like bangs or sounds good or anything. It's just introspectiveness, I guess, and set up for Chromacopia, which is a much better album, but we'll get to that. I think this is a B. This is definitely, like, quality-wise, leagues above Goblin, of course. I just don't think it really touches Flower Boy or Wolf, honestly. Like, there are some highs on it, like Rise, Sweet / I Thought You Wanted to Dance, which I really wish Sweet just wasn't there. Run It Up, Massa, Corso, very good. What's Your Name is overrated again. I just don't really get the appeal for that one. Well, I get the appeal for that one, but there's just so many better options on the album, honestly. Juggernaut is fantastic. I like Juggernaut. Wilshire, I want to like Wilshire, but I don't know, man. Like, why would I ever want to listen to that song besides if I'm just doing like an album listen? I'm never just going to put that on because it's not catchy. It's just a story. And if I'm listening to a song, I want something that's like fun to listen to, as a fun beat, is catchy, not the same beat for like, I think that song's like 8 minutes or so. Like 8 minutes of the same beat and him just telling a story. While the story is good, I don't know, man. There's just other songs that do a similar sort of thing better that I would rather listen to. I'm going to put it in B. Why are you meowing at me? Stop meowing. I'm going to let my cat out of my room real quick. BRB chat. Watch out. Watch over my chair. Make sure my chair doesn't eat you guys. Eat my food. Get over here. Alright, there we go. I'm back. Next is Chromacopia. When I heard this album, I was in, like, when I first heard the promotion for this album, and like Saint Chroma dropped and Noid dropped, I think those were the 2 singles, I was like, wow, this is going to be really good. And I was not wrong. This album is one of Tyler's best albums, and as much of a Cherry Bomb glazer as I am, this is better. I think this is honestly better than Cherry Bomb. And when I first heard this, I thought this was on par with Igor. I now realize that is not the case, though I do think it is rather close. I think Chromacopia is a very significant moment in his discography. there's not any bad songs on here. There's no songs that are bad. Not a single one. There's some that are not as good as others. Like, I Killed You and Judge Judy to an extent. Like, I get Judge Judy. I like Judge Judy, but it's just not one that I put on, like, crave to listen to. Other than that, though, this album's pretty much flawless. The production sounds like if Igor and Cherry Bomb had a baby, which you can tell that I would like that. Ratata, Saint Chroma. Sticky is the best song on here. It's better than Like Him. I don't care. Like Him is a little bit overrated. No, it's not overrated, but it's overplayed. Sticky is Tyler's best banger ever, period, and it's not really even close. Sticky is such an amazing song. It is so good. It's so fun to listen to. Yeah, not really much more to say about that one. It's just an amazing album, like, all around. Like, there's nothing that really falters on it. There's not really any, like, clear holes I can poke in it. Next is his most recent album, Don't Tap the Glass, which only came out, like 9 months after Chromacopia, which is, I think, the shortest we've had to wait between Tyler albums. And I think you can tell. I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this album. I actually kind of don't like it. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I like this album. There are like 3.5 songs that I like on it. Those songs are Sucker Free, Tell Me What It Is, and I'll Take Care of You. And the half that I said was Stop Playing With Me. And also kind of Mom and M. I really like Mom and M, though it's kind of an interlude, so I don't really know if I want to count that. Every other song on this thing is kind of boring or actually kind of bad. Like, Big Poe is a kind of a bad song, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's mixed really weird. He, like, sings really strange on this album that makes me, like, not like it whatsoever. And I don't really like the production on a lot of these songs. Actually aren't really produced very well. Sugar on My Tongue is one where it's just mixed so weird, and his vocals on it are so strange. I genuinely do not like it. Ring 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 is boring. The title track / Tweakin' is forgettable. Everything else on here is forgettable. And besides the tracks that I said, which are really good, I think the worst song on Igor is better than the best song on Don't Tap the Glass. I think you do get more out of this, and it is a more well-made project than Bastard. I think, honestly, it's not by a lot. I'm going to put this right above Bastard in D tier. I don't care for it. I really don't. I think Goblin's a better project. I do. I really do. Like, there's so much more fun to be had on this. Like, I know the point of this album was, like a dance project to, like, put on in the background to be, like, dancing around, you're hyping, you're moving and grooving, you're listening to this in the background, but it's not even good dance music, honestly. Like, not even, like, no, it's just boring. Like, you're purposefully making background music. I don't really get, like, and, like, if you're gonna make background music, at least make it, like, quality. This is just kind of bad. Well, not bad, but just painfully mid, I'd say. To the point where I don't like it. And I'd put it there. Did you rate the Grinch album? The Grinch album wasn't on this tier list, but I'd put that in... I think that's better than Don't Tap the Glass. I think the Grinch album is better. I'd put it in D tier above Don't Tap the Glass. And that's that. That's the Tyler, the Creator tier list. If you disagree, I don't care. Moving on. Radiohead. I like Radiohead a lot. They're currently my most listened... I wouldn't say favorite, but they're my most listened to band at the moment. They have one of the most solid discographies just ever. Starting off with Pablo Honey, which was their first album and also their most different from the rest of their projects. If you know anything about Radiohead, you know that they're weird and they make weird music. Pablo Honey is normal music, and a lot of people like to hate on Pablo Honey because it sounds like your average rock album from the 90s. Can I spoil all the artists? Yeah, I did earlier. So after this, I'll just say this right now, we have Lil Ugly Mane, which is my personal favorite artist ever. Logic, Arctic Monkeys, and then Death Grips. And those are all the artists that I have planned for this stream. But yeah, this is normal music, and a lot of people don't like it because it's normal music and doesn't sound anything like the rest of these albums. And a lot of people don't like it because it's too generic for them. And if you genuinely think that, I think you're a prick. That's my honest opinion. I'm going to put this album in C tier because, yes, it's not as good as most of what they do later on. It's like fine music. Like, there's some good songs in here. There are some not so good songs in here. It's overall pretty... Yeah, I mean, it is a little generic, but it's, like, good. It's a perfectly fine, solid album. I don't get why people hate this one. My favorite songs on here are You. Obviously, Creep is on here. Blowout, the closing track. And I actually quite like the songs How Do You, Anyone Can Play Guitar, and Prove Yourself. The rest of these songs, though, range from kind of alright. Is King of Limbs overhated? I didn't listen to it. Oh, absolutely. We're going to get to King of Limbs. Spoiler alert, it's going to be ranking a lot higher than most people would put it. This album, yeah, the rest of the songs besides the ones I mentioned are, I mean, they range from good, like, good to, like, kind of unnoteworthy to kind of bad. There's a couple of bad songs in here. I'd say, like, Stop Whispering and Thinking About You are bad songs that are also both way too long for what they are. I think one of them is, like, 5.5-ish minutes, and it really doesn't need to be. So is the song I Can't, but I do actually kind of like that song. Yeah, I mean, it's just not really comparable to the rest of their work, and it's definitely nowhere near the quality of some of these later projects. Next is The Bends, which is pretty much just Pablo Honey, if Pablo Honey was a little bit more focused and a lot more experimental. I'd put this in B. It's not all that much different, though. It is, but it was the first Radiohead album I ever listened to, and it made me want to listen to the rest. It's a very good album. There's some incredible songs on here, like Planet Telex, the title track, The Bends, closing track, Fade Out, Street Spirit. My Iron Lung is fantastic. Black Star is probably my favorite off of this album. Fake Plastic Trees, High and Dry, all fantastic songs. Though, this album does kind of feel like, between these songs, everything else just kind of feels like, besides a few that are pretty good, that I just don't think are among my favorites, besides those, I think a lot of these songs are just kind of like filler to get to the next really good song, if that makes sense. Like the song Bones, Nice Dream, Sulk, Bulletproof I Wish I Was. All of those songs just kind of feel like, alright, I have to get through this to get to whatever next song is next that I really, really enjoy. And I think that kind of ruins the momentum of it in some areas. Though I do think it is a very quality project. I don't think it's among their best. And I do think the vibe of it is also very good. But I just don't think it's anything, like, incredible. And that's where I'd put it. Next is OK Computer, which is a very overrated album, though I am still going to put it in the A tier. Low-key was the only one with replay value. You think so? I mean, I would probably agree with you. Like, when I first heard the album, I probably would have agreed with you, but I think you really gotta sit with some of these songs. Like, especially Black Star and Fade Out Street Spirit are very, 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 very good. OK Computer is obviously a fantastic album. It was rated, I think it's currently the second highest rated album ever. And I disagree. I don't think it's their best. Do I think it's close to their best? Relatively, yeah. What do I say? It sounds less experimental than The Bends, but it's more experimental than Pablo Honey. The songs are structured a lot better. The songs are written very well. The narratives of it are quite clear, and a lot of these songs are very, very... It's basically The Bends, but better. And that's pretty much just what this album is to me. Is The Bends, but times 2 on steroids, I guess. Paranoid Android, fantastic song. A Subterranean Homesick Alien, fantastic song. The Tourist, very good. I actually don't really like Karma Police that much. Sue me, I don't really like it. And there are some songs in here that are just like, they're fine. They're good. Like, there's no bad songs on here, but they're just songs that I'd like when I'm listening to them. I'm like, okay, I'd rather be listening to the one after this or before it. You know, I think the opening track Airbag I want to like a lot more than I do, but I just kind of don't. I think I don't know. The lyrics on it are so good, but the way it's presented is just such missed potential, I feel. And other songs on here like Letdown, which people say is the most underrated song of all time, which literally is not too. It's their second most popular song on Spotify. Like, if you say Letdown is underrated, I don't think you know what underrated means. Because everyone says that song is underrated. It's honestly overrated, I think. Well, no, it's actually pretty good. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about OK Computer. Gotta go. Good luck. Thanks. See ya. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. I mean, it's a very, very good album. It's rated the way it is for a reason. I just don't think it's their best. Next is Kid A. Kid A is an album that took me a bit to kind of come back to because I was scared of it to a degree. I was scared of it because it is very experimental. And when I listened to it, I was kind of bored. And I'm like, oof, okay. I really don't want to find this album boring. I'm hesitant to come back to it because what if I still find it boring and I don't like it? I came back to it. I did not find it boring. I think this album is very good. There's some incredible songs on here. However, everything after Idiotech and the song before Idiotech, all of those songs, I don't think should be there. And I don't think they add anything to the album whatsoever. And I don't really like them all that much. They're not bad, but they add nothing to the album. And I think every other song is phenomenal. And I think if they weren't there, this album would be easily like top 2 for me. Because everything in its right place, really good. I actually really like the title track for this album, Kid A. It's weird, but it's cool. The national anthem is a bit long for what it is. It's good though still. How to Disappear Completely is a masterpiece, obviously. Tree Fingers is a really, really good ambient song, and I really dig that. Optimistic is a banger, and then Idiotech is Idiotech, and we love Idiotech here, though the outro does drag a little bit. Outside of that, though, every other track I could do without. I'm still going to put an A just behind OK Computer. It's a very, very solid album. It's probably their most experimental and weird album. In Limbo's good. It's just like, I don't know, I start to lose interest at that point just because it's not really like the rest to a degree. I think the same way with all the other songs, like what's that one movie soundtrack? It's not Exit Music. I think Exit Music's on here. I don't know, I'm getting it confused. But moving on is Amnesiac. Amnesiac is a sister album to Kid A. It was made at the same time, though it really doesn't really sound all that much like Kid A. It does a little bit to a degree. But I can tell why these were scrapped from Kid A, because this album kind of blows. I don't like it. I think it's their worst album. I'm going to put it in D, not F, because it's really unique, really experimental, and there are some weird-ass things going on here, like Polk / Revolving Doors. While that song is Radiohead's worst song, and it will die on that hill, it's so strange to the point where listening to it doesn't make me want to die. And then there's Hunting Bears, which is such a nothing song. It's not even a song. That's just blatantly unfinished, and they put it on the album. And Pyramid Song, while I want to like it so bad, it's just so boring, man. It's just so boring. It really doesn't need to be as long as it is, and so minimally produced. I get it's a B song, but all of these are, besides one, which I'll talk about that. But it's just kind of lame. I do like Packed Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box. I do like Dollars and Cents a lot. I might be wrong. Those are my favorites from it. The rest, I want to like You and Whose Army. I just kind of don't. And then Life in a Glass House is a very overrated song. It's mixed so poorly. Like, if you listen to that with headphones, it kind of actually hurts. Like, the horns hurt my ears listening to that song. I don't get why people really like it that much. It's also kind of boring outside of the horns. And that was the only new song made for this album, which is weird because it sounds probably the most like a B-side than the rest of it. Moving on, though. I might anger some people with this take. Hail to the Thief. This is the album I listened to when I realized, wow, these guys are good. OK Computer didn't do that. Kid A didn't do that. The Bends didn't do that. Hail to the Thief did. Hail to the Thief is a shockingly good album. I remember being very hesitant to listen to it because it's their longest album. It's kind of worth it. This album bangs. This album goes hard. My favorite Radiohead songs of all time pop up on this thing, like Where and You Begin, There There, Wolf at the Door, 2 + 2 = 5, Sit Down, Stand Up. There are more that I can think of probably. Mixomatosis is another one, Punch Up at a Wedding. Those are very good songs. Though there are some bad songs on here, though The Gloaming doesn't need to exist. We Suck Young Blood is a song that sounds just about how you think it would. Not really, actually, but it's very boring and bad. It sounds like a worse version of Pyramid Song. And because it has all these, like, bad moments on it that are just kind of, I just really don't like that they're there, I'm going to put it at the top of A, above OK Computer. This sounds like a perfect mix of experimental, like it sounds like, this album sounds like how the Bends would have sounded if the Bends released later on, if that makes sense. It's very normal sounding compared to the albums that came out relatively near its release, but it still has that element of experimental, like, nature to it that I think really draws me in also. Very good album. Highly recommend. Next is In Rainbows, which is one of the best albums I've ever heard ever. And I'm going to put that in S tier. This album is a masterpiece. There's not a single song in here that is bad. There's only one song that prevents it from being a 10 out of 10, and it's Videotape. Videotape is such a departure from the rest of this album's sound and just overall vibe, and it's just not really a fun listen whatsoever. Like, I get what it's trying to do, and it's kind of cool. Like, it's not a bad song. It's kind of cool. It's like a 7 out of 10 song. It's just like, this was a really poor way to close the album, honestly. But the rest of this album is all phenomenal. The rest of it is incredible. It's one of the best albums just ever. My favorites off this thing are House of Cards, which is a very underrated song, I feel. Jigsaw Falling Into Place, obviously. All I Need, Body Snatchers, Nude, of course. 15 Step. Reckoner, so good. Faust Arp is actually a really good song, and I think plays a very crucial role in the track list of this album. It's a very, like, lull point, but not in a bad way. It's like a break from the heavy stuff of the rest of it, and it sounds very pretty, and it's very pretty on the ears, and it is very needed for the track list, I feel. House of Cards mid. No, I will not take that slander. House of Cards is a phenomenal song. It's such a like a good soundscape to it. I don't know, man. It's just really nostalgic sounding for whatever reason. A lot of this album is very nostalgic sounding. Though, like, similarly to Satellite Flight that I talked about earlier, I don't really have any memories attached to this album, but it is very nostalgic. And that's my thoughts on In Rainbows. I think it's their best album, and I think if you haven't heard it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Next is The King and Limbs, which is an album people love to hate on, and some people even say it's worse than Pablo Honey, and what on earth are you smoking, my dude? This album is incredible. I didn't like it when I first heard it. I don't know what I was smoking. Like, when I heard it, I was like, this is a little boring. I don't really know what's going on here. And then I listened to it a second time with headphones. Because the first time I heard it, it was on vinyl at someone's house. And I was just like, I want this to be over. Don't care for it. I liked a couple songs on it, but the rest of it was really boring. No. All of this album is very, 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 very cool. This is probably on par with Kid A for their most experimental album. And it just sounds so primal. It sounds like the album cover. Bloom has some crazy ass drums. The drums on this album are so good. Like, if you love drums, you're gonna like this album a lot. Very cool. Bloom, amazing song. Little by Little is very good. I don't really care for Morning Mr. Magpie too much. Feral is a song that a lot of people don't like, and I get it. I didn't like it for the longest time either, and I still kind of don't, but I get what it's going for. It sounds feral. It's mostly an instrumental track that's mostly just, like, skittering percussions and, like, synths going crazy, and it's just kind of weird to listen to. It sounds like a question mark, but in the best way. Then Lotus Flower is the most popular song on this album, for a reason. It's incredible. It's very good. Codex and Give Up the Ghost are songs I was hesitant on because I don't really like that kind of style of song where it's just very long, minimal piano ballads. But if you listen to it with headphones, there's so much more going on, especially Give Up the Ghost. Give Up the Ghost is a phenomenal song. Codex is one that is kind of... It's starting to grow on me a little bit, but it's still kind of one of the lesser good songs in here. Though, the closing track, Separator, is my favorite Radiohead song at the moment. It is a 10 out of 10 song through and through. It is phenomenal. The drum loop is so good. The way the guitar and the synths sort of like slowly like glide in towards the end, and the really orchestral like synthscape at the end of the song that closes it out is phenomenal. It's a pretty long song, 5 minutes, not a second wasted, I don't think. And this album is crazy good. Like, crazy good. Very underrated project. I would put this in A, above Kid A. And that's where I'd put that. If you disagree, I don't care. The last album on this list is A Moon-Shaped Pool, which is an album that when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, wow, that's really good. And then I kept listening to it. And recently I've started to listen to it more. And the more that I listen to it, the more I realize how beautiful this album really is. This is easily their prettiest sounding album. It's mostly just lo-fi. It's very lo-fi. Nothing's really like overly exciting, I guess, on this album. Besides maybe the outro on Burn the Witch. That's like the hypest this album gets. The rest of it's very slow. Very, well, some tracks are slow, like Daydreaming. Not really a big fan of Daydreaming. True Love Waits is one of the most depressing songs I've ever heard. This is a very depressing, this is easily their saddest album. And I think the emotion portrays very, very well. Every single song on this album gives me the chills. Like, every song on here, like, provokes a response from me. And that's really what you want from music at the end of the day. Is something that just, like, makes you feel something, you know? And this album makes me feel something more than most other albums. I'd say this is very, honestly, very close to In Rainbows for being one of their best albums. And one of my favorite albums just ever, honestly. It sounds like the album cover. It honestly sounds like the album cover. I would put it in S, right below In Rainbows. It's just that good, honestly. Like, listen to it. I wouldn't even say there's any bad songs. Like, there's songs I don't really care for, like, again, Daydreaming. That's pretty much about it. And for the longest time, I didn't really care for the numbers, but the strings on that song save it. The strings on that song are so good. But songs like Present Tense, Tinker Tailor Soldier is a very underrated song. Glass Eyes, Full Stop, Identikit, Dex Dark. Phenomenal. And that's my Radiohead tier list. If you disagree with that, I do not care. Next is my favorite artist, literally ever. I guarantee anyone on chat right now has not really heard of any of these albums. Probably. Maybe. I don't know if you recognize any of these. We're not rating all of these because a lot of these aren't even albums. I don't know why. Literally everything from all of this bottom row we're not ranking because most of these are just like 1 or 2 song little EPs, and then there's just stuff that's Little Ugly Mane under a different alias that I haven't heard, like this album by Vudmerk, which is a black metal album, which is something that he does. But we're gonna go through it. This is my favorite artist of all time, so expect a lot of these albums to rate kind of high, but not initially, because we have to talk about Players Circle. This album is one of the worst albums I've actually ever heard in my entire life. Never do the disservice of listening to this album. Take care of your ears, please. This album, I'm pretty sure, was made as a joke, because there's no way someone goes in the studio and makes this album and then thinks it sounds good unironically. Genuinely, there is one song on here that I would even consider listenable. Well, there's a couple other songs that are listenable, but there's only one that's like kind of alright, and it's the opening track, the intro, which is like not bad. It's like a 6 out of 10. The rest of this album sucks dick. The song Mask on My Fucking Face sounds so much worse than you could possibly imagine. Genuinely, pull up Spotify, look up that song, listen to it, like the first 30 seconds, and that's the entire song. There's no way. It's the entire beat of that song is just Chewbacca like having an orgasm or something. It's bad. It's so bad. The rest of this album is bad. And a lot of the songs blend together also, which sucks. The title track, Play a Circle, the beat is like alright, but it kind of hurts to listen to because it's mixed so poorly. The production on this thing sucks so goddamn much. And that's really saying a lot considering he produces like all of his albums. And every album after this is produced so incredibly well. It's kind of hard to believe that this was made by even the same person. There's one song on here that's like, okay, this would have been good, but it's just not. And that song is Putting It Down for My Hood, which has a really great chorus, but the rest of the song just kind of sucks. Genuinely, this album is horrible. And I don't think it's the worst album I've ever heard. I think Vultures 1 and 2 are definitely worse. But this album, dear God, sucks. F. Very much F. Next is Mr. Thug Isolation, which is probably the album most people know him for. This album came out a year after, and you like listening back to back to these albums, like listening to Play a Circle, then listening to this, is like listening to Lil Xan, and then you turn on like Mozart. It's insane. This album is an A for me. This album is straight just Memphis hip hop, horrorcore influence. It's not really horrorcore. People like to say this is a horrorcore album. There's elements of it, like with the lyrics especially, but it doesn't really sound like horrorcore besides like maybe a track or two. There are some bangers on this, like straight bangers on this. Some examples are No Slack on My Mac, Bitch I'm Lugubrious, Serious Shit is so good. Maniac Drug Dealer 3, Wishmaster, dude, Wishmaster, Breeze 'Em Out. I even love the instrumentals on this thing. Not the opening track, which is a 1.5 minute long like noise piece, which is honestly kind of okay, but most people would recommend you skip that. But the interlude track, Alone and Suffering, and especially Last Breath, Outroduction, which is the outro of the album, is very, very good actually. Throw 'Em Guns is pretty good. There's a lot of great stuff on here. There's also some stinkers on it though that prevent it from being S, because it's very close to S tier, but it's not. Those songs being Looking for the Suckin', which is somehow even worse than the title would lead you to believe. It is literally just 1.5 verses, because the second verse is the same exact thing as the first verse, but cut in half for some reason. And then the chorus is the rest of the song, which is one of the most ear-grating things ever, because the beat is just so obnoxiously terrible. and I genuinely have a hard time listening to that. The other song, Mona Lisa Overdrive, is... I want to like it. I want to like it really bad, but the lyrics are just kind of a little bit off-putting. I don't like crazy overly sexual songs, and that one kind of is, though the beat is so good. Especially during the chorus, that beat is so good. I just can't with the lyrics. Other than that, though, the rest of this is straight fire, and I would highly recommend it. It's definitely a classic album. For underground hip-hop, it's one of the most infamous albums and popular albums for a reason. Alright, the next song, or next album, is the first in the 3-sided tape series. There's 3 in the 3-sided tape series. This is the first one. And before I talk about the album, I need to say what it is, because these are interesting projects. They are essentially scrapped, unreleased, unfinished songs, or just songs he didn't like that are in his vault, that he decided to be like, all right, let's just put these all on one album and release them. Hold on, give me 1 sec, chat. I'm getting a phone call. Give me 1 moment. Uno momento, chat. Alright. So yeah, this album is a compilation of songs that fit under the descriptions that I said. Songs from 20-something to 2012. I forget. 2007 to 2012, I think, is when the songs were made for this album. This album released in 2013. And it's honestly really good, actually. It's really good. For a compilation of just scrapped, unreleased songs that don't really have any cohesion together, it's surprisingly cohesive. This thing is very varied genre-wise, and you'll see that with the later ones as well. This one is just a very solid experience. It goes from, hip-hop tracks to, an R&B track, and it's mostly instrumental. There are some songs in here with words. There's a lot of electronic on here as well. You're gonna find something on this album that you really like. Songs like Spaghetti Strap Gun Holster, which is a real name of the song. It's very good. Songs like Hello, Steel Spittin', Cat Peel, Iron Door, Can't Sex Me. Those songs are great. There are some on here that are bad, but it's a little bit more excusable because a lot of the songs in here are very short, and also just the how different they are, from how every song is different from another. Could not be more different from one another, and it's crazy. And it's crazy how good of an album experience these 3 albums are, and especially the first one is one of the better ones, I think. I'd put this in A below Mr. Thug, and I would highly recommend this. It's a very unique listen. Hold on, I'm responding to a text. Give me a sec. All right. Next is the second one, 3-Side Tape Volume 2. I think it is the worst of the 3. It's the least varied genre-wise, and it's mostly just hip-hop beats, this one. And, well, a lot of them are good, perfectly fine hip-hop beats. I'd say a lot of it blends together by the end. It's a pretty long project also, and I think it is actually the shortest of the 3, but it feels the longest to get through. I don't know. This album doesn't have the highs that the first one has. Just really does not have the highs that the first one has. And while it doesn't have the lows that the first one has, because the lows on here, well, they're very few. They're very interesting, but they're very low. There's a black metal song on here, and I'm not really into black metal very much. But it's one of the lower points in my opinion, just because it's not really my thing. This album just doesn't really have much interesting going for it. And because of that, I think it's a C tier, just because this album is so uninteresting. The concept is interesting. If you really like the concept of these, I would recommend it, because it's one of the 3. I think you should listen to it if you're into that kind of thing. But overall, I think it's one of his weaker projects overall as well. And I don't know. I just not necessarily for me. But before we get to the third side of tape, we gotta talk about this, which is an EP. Though it's the songs are very long. Hello, Highway. We're yapping about music. We're yapping about music. If you want to learn about music that I like, just listen to me. This is an EP called The Weeping Worm, is what it's called. And it's not on any streaming services. It's only really on YouTube and Bandcamp, I think. And honestly, this is kind of mediocre. There's like one song on this thing that's really, 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 really good, and that's, I think it's Passion Scepter Dirt Mystery is the correct way to say that. Other than that, though, the rest of this kind of ranges from low-key bad to just kind of meh. I'd put it in D just because that one song carries, and it is a very interesting experience. It's just a very short experience because it is an EP. There's only like 4 songs, so the songs on it are quite long. I don't know, just not really my thing, honestly. Not really my kind of jam. It's very weird also. Next, I'm just going to move on from that one. Next is the third installment of the 3-sided tape series. This one's just called Third Side of Tape, not Volume 3. And this is one of the craziest album listening experiences I've ever had in my entire life. This is 50 songs long. It is 2.5 hours of music. And I've sat through it multiple times in one sitting because this album is genuinely incredible. Every single song is a different genre from one another. And this album bounces between tracks so ungracefully that it ends up being graceful and actually sounds cohesive by the end of it. If you listen to Lift Your Skinny Fist because you low-key do a reaction stream, I'd consider it. I'd consider it. That'd probably make it more fun. I'd consider it. We'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of amazing songs in here also. Like, the best songs on the trilogy end up on this record. Like, Separate and Stay, Crows, which is, like, so good. Crows is incredible. Sorry to interrupt, but since I don't see here, would you rank Everywhere Within Time as a single album? I would, yes. I'm doing, like, by artist right now, so I'm just doing, like, full artist discographies. I've done Kid Cudi, Radiohead, and what was the other one? Tyler, the Creator so far, but I have a few more lined up. I could actually do The Caretaker. I'm familiar with quite a few of their albums. Thought this was everything. No, this is not everything. This is just one artist at the moment. This is Lil Ugly Mane is what I'm doing right now. But Everywhere at the End of Time is a 10 out of 10 album. I'd put that in S tier. It's my second favorite album of all time, like the full project. That's what I would rate that. Yeah, this album, genuinely incredible. There's not a single album experience similar to this. And you know what I know what's like really funny about this album that kind of sums up the entire project? There's this like really like, not lo-fi, but kind of luxurious sounding like hip hop, like trip hop beat that's just kind of wavy, kind of spacey, kind of mellow lo-fi. And it immediately hard transitions into a full-blown punk rock song. And it's so cool. It's like so cool how it does that, and it can actually manage to get away with something like that. It's insane. I love it. That's what I love about this album. There's black metal on this thing as well. There's rave music, EDM, IDM, techno, electronic, R&B, noise music. Like, there's a lot of noise songs in here, so if you're not a fan of noise music, I can get why you wouldn't like those. I'm not... Like, I like noise music, but there's like 5-minute long noise pieces on here, which I just, most of the time I skip. There are some very bad songs on here, like Busch Gardens is... Busch Gardens. If you listen to it, it's Busch Gardens. And then there's another song called Equipped for the Job, which is 8 minutes of just the same beat over and over again. Gets very stale within the first 30 seconds, and 8 minutes of it is not pleasant. And Jack Scrubby is not a very good song. Predominance is a very strange electric, like, piano sounding song. It's weird. It sounds like you did too much Benadryl. That's what that song sounds like. It's very strange. But, like, every single song on this thing feels like a different genre. It's so varied. It's so cool. It is S tier. Listen to it. Like, if you have 2.5 hours to spare, this would be a good way to spend that time. If you don't, I don't blame you. That's a big undertaking. but it's worth it, trust me. Next is Oblivion Access. We're back to just regular albums now, not compilations, not collections of like different work. This is Oblivion Access. Supposed to be the last Little Ugly Mane album, but it wasn't. There's a few more after it, so far anyways. This is a very interesting album. I think what sells this album is its production and lyrics. The lyrics paired with the production are so visceral sounding. It's similar to Speed and Bullet to Heaven in that sense, though there's another album that we're going to get to in a little bit that's even more like Speed and Bullet to Heaven. But this album is so unique production-wise. Like, there's not any album like it, honestly. It's very... this album sounds like a man that's just kind of lost it. Like, mentally. Like, just kind of fed up with everything. Kind of going crazy because of the world. That's what this album sounds like. Very unique production. A lot of... It is a hip-hop album, but there's a lot of, like, rock influence on some of these songs. It's a big departure from Mr. Thug. Mr. Thug sounds nothing like this. He also ditched the vocal filter that he used on Mr. Thug and Play Circle on this album, where he's just singing his normal voice. The lyrics on this thing are quite depressing, and that goes in tow with the rest of the production of the album. And there's also some fire... Well, there's 3 instrumentals on this album. 2 of them kind of suck. One of them, though, called Leonard's Lake is the name of the song, is one of the best instrumental songs I've ever heard in my life, and I highly recommend you guys listen to that. It is an incredible experience. The instrumentals on this thing just slap. Though it is a bit short for what it is, and there are some songs on here that I just don't really care for. Like the closing track, while I like what it's going for, and I like the message, the topic, the underlying message, you know, it just, I mean, it's not really one that I would ever want to put on to listen to because it's catchy, because it's not. There's a few songs on here that, I think there's 4 instrumentals on here. Yeah, there's 4. The other 3 instrumentals that aren't Leonard's Lake are the songs Ejaculated Poisoned Wrench, which is a real song that exists. Yes, it sucks. It's an instrumental, but it's mostly just noise. Warmest Flag, which is the most forgettable beat, and then it transitions into just noise for like 5 seconds, and it just kind of jump scares you, and it's something that I always skip. And then Compliance is just one of the loudest songs I've ever heard. It is so noisy. Persistence is a good song, but I just find it not as appealing as the rest. Collapse and Appears way too long. Way too long. The rest of this album, though, bangs. Opposite Lanes is an incredible banger. The beat on that thing is one of the best beats I've ever heard. I'd put this in A below 3-Sided Tape Volume 1 because I think this is a more unique experience that you won't get anywhere else. And I think the quality of it is overall probably worse, but it's not by much. I just think this is a more interesting album to me. What are you gonna react? Because I don't check Game Jolt frequently. I don't know. I'm very inconsistent with my streams, so just turn on those notifications. I guess. I don't know. And whenever I stream, you'll be notified of that, I guess. Next song, or next album, is called Flick Your Tongue Against Your Teeth and Describe the Present Volume 1, though there was never any volumes after this. It was released under a different alias called Bedwetter, and it's on this list because it's very important to the Little Ugly Mane name. Similarly to Speed and Bullet to Heaven, this was the album he was going to make before he killed himself, and thankfully he did not kill himself. This album is incredibly depressing lyric-wise, and sonic-wise, it's very depressing. It's just him talking about different aspects of his life that make him just depressed, things going on in his mind that make him just not want to be here anymore. And the most depressing song that I've ever heard on this album, called This Is Not My Stomach, it's one of the most depressing. It's a noise song, but it's honestly kind of beautiful. It's kind of beautiful. If you like, look up the lyrics to it, because the lyrics are very hard to understand because they're very muddled in the background, and you're listening to it, it's just an experience. It's not a good experience because of how depressing it is, and it will put you in a bad mood. But like, that song has genuinely almost brought me to tears. It's crazy. The rest of this album is quite good, though I think the deluxe version of this album makes it so much better because this album is very short. It's only like 8 songs minus the 3 deluxe songs, and similarly to a couple albums we've talked about, like 4 of the songs here are instrumentals. Maybe not 4, but a lot of them are like interludes or instrumentals. Like the first track, John, is like 19 seconds of, I think, a Bible verse. There's a song called Branch that's just the same verse, like 10-second verse looped over and over and over for like 2 minutes. The song Fondly Eulogizing Sleep, while that is a great instrumental song and does play a great piece of... Actually, I don't really have a complaint about that one. That one, I think, needs to be there because what that song means is very important for the rest of the album. Cave Yourself Over, similar, but not as important, I don't think, and I don't really like that one all that much. Square Movement, while I do really like that song, it just doesn't really have a purpose on the album. And there's a lot of just filler here when there doesn't really need to be. And I think that's what this album really... The biggest gripe that I have with it. There's a lot of filler. Again, the deluxe tracks do help a lot, which aren't on streaming services. They're only on YouTube. Selfish, Raging Bull, and Untitled 63, I think is what the song's called, or just Untitled. Those songs are very good. Besides Untitled, which is just another instrumental that's way too long, honestly. But Selfish is very good, and especially Raging Bull is crazy. Yeah, I think while this album is so depressing and means so much, and is so raw with its emotion, I can't put it any higher than B, just because there's so much filler, it does drag it down. Though I do really like it, and I do really recommend it, because it's a crazy listen of just straight up unadulterated emotion. Next is Volcanic Bird Enemy and The Voice Concern. If you know me at all, that name is familiar to you. This is my favorite album that has ever been made. It is the most amazing piece of music I've ever consumed. It is 19 songs, only an hour. It doesn't really feel that long. It doesn't feel like 19 songs at all. Every song adds something. Every single song adds something. Every single song is phenomenal. There's not a single bad song on here. There's multiple songs I would consider 10 out of 10. Not a single skip. Not even the ones that are just instrumentals. And there's a few instrumentals on here that really provide something to it. Because similar to how Faust Arp was for In Rainbows, I feel like that's the instrumentals. Because the subject matter of this album is very heavy. It's depression, but in a different way than Bedwetter was. It's more like discontent than anything. And it is a beautiful album. It's not a hip-hop album. It is his first non-hip-hop album. This is more like a folk / hypnagogic trip-hop rock album, like indie sorta. And it sounds like the album cover. If you can see it down there, it sounds just like that. It's whimsical, it's fun, it's sad, it's everything that I would ever want in an album, honestly. It's perfect music through and through. Not anything that I would consider bad whatsoever, even remotely close. Nothing dips below great. It's the best album I've ever heard. Highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. Alright, the last one we're going to rank. We're not going to rank all these because these are like... Most of these are just EPs that only have like 1 or 2 songs. Or they're just stuff I haven't really checked out much. But this is the singles collection, which I would count as an album because they sound so cohesive together. It's almost like it was made to be an album. Surprisingly very good. Surprisingly really, 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 really good. Opens with the song Replica Fireplace, which is one of his best instrumentals. Very nostalgic sounding. Which goes into... This album, genre-wise, is very similar to Volcanic Bird Enemy, but a lot of these songs commit more to one specific genre instead of trying to branch out into more. Like, there's a lot of just straight up rock songs on here, like Easy Prey, Blue Sand. Those are just straight up rock songs. Easy Prey especially, I really do enjoy. There's some lo-fi, like folk, indie, soft rock stuff, like Unassisted, Redacted Fog, and Low Tide at the Drying Out Facility is literally just a country song, and he sounds great doing it. Split Ends, I don't even know what genre that is, but I want more of it. Pink and Rose sounds like it could have fit on Volcanic Bird Enemy, and it's incredible. There's some songs in here that I don't really care for, like Blue Sand. Not crazy for that one. Redacted Fog is good, but I never go out of my way to listen to that. Other than that, though, I mean, this album is pretty perfect for the most part. I would put it in A. It's not S. It's not S. I'd put it in A, below Oblivion Access. Above. I like it better. I like it better than Oblivion Access. That's where I'd put that. And that is my Little Ugly Mane tier list. If you like it, if you agree, cool. If you don't, again, I do not care. Moving on, Logic. Logic is a rapper that is very overhated for not really any reason in particular, I don't think. He honestly doesn't really have too many bad projects. I am very thirsty. Give me 1 sec. He's a really consistent rapper, honestly. And I like a lot of his stuff. I used to be a hater. Before I even listened to his music, I used to hate him because everyone else hated him, and I hopped on that bandwagon. And then I listened to his music, and I was like, what? Why is this really good? Starting with his first album, Under Pressure. I really dig this. I really dig this. This honestly sounds like Logic. I wouldn't say it is most mature, but he sounds maturer than he usually does on this album. On this album, he sounds hungry. Like he wants to like make it big. And this album is very good. There's some very good songs on this thing. Like the title track, Under Pressure, is phenomenal. Nikki is very good. Gang Related, so good. Soul Food, opener and the closer. Even the deluxe tracks in this thing add a lot. They're very good. Overall, just a very solid hip-hop album. If you like hip-hop, you'd probably really like this album. I think some of the sample work on this album is not the greatest, and there are some songs that do I just kind of like forget about until I listen to it. I'm like, oh yeah, that song's good. And then it's in one ear, out the other a little bit. So for that, I'd put it in A. I think it's a very solid A-tier album. It's one of his better albums, not his best, but I definitely really enjoy it. And I think it's one that I think if you're going to listen to Logic, it's one that you definitely should listen to. But this is definitely more my speed. The Incredible True Story is such a great album. Like, this is one of his most infamous albums, just because it's with his fans anyway. Because a lot of people really do enjoy this album, and I do too. I think it's for a time I thought it was his best album, and I don't know if I agree with that still, but it's an S tier for him for sure. This album is narrative based. It's about people just trying to find a new habitable planet for humans because we screwed up Earth so bad we need to leave and get out of here and find a new planet. And that's what the narrative is. There's an overarching story going on. There's different skits going on, which will become a theme later on in his later projects where there's a lot of skits. This is where they kind of started and originated. And the story here is genuinely like interesting. And the songs on here are so much more standout and unique. It's also a bit of a shorter, more concise project, which definitely helps than Under Pressure. The production on here is definitely more standout, more unique. And he sounds... I don't know. He sounds kind of like a kid just wanting, like, playing pretend in, like, his room is what this album sounds like. And it's honestly really, really good. And I really highly recommend this one to anyone. I think anyone would like this. City of Stars is phenomenal. Fade Away is really good. Like Whoa. Lord Willin, fantastic songs. Young Jesus is a really good banger. There's probably more that I'm missing, but oh yeah, Never Been, fantastic. The closing track is phenomenal. I just wish it wasn't the other half of the song wasn't a skit, but really fantastic album. Next is Bobby Tarantino 1, which is the first in the trio of the Bobby Tarantino series. And this album is kind of in one ear and out the other for me. Like, there's some good songs in here, but I don't really come back to anything on this project. It's not boring. It's just, like, pretty insignificant sounding compared to a lot of his other stuff. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I just don't really care for this one all too much. It's not F tier. It's not a bad album. It's just, like, so unremarkable for me and, like, so forgettable. I'm just going to put it in D. Again, not a bad project. I don't even have any, like, tracks in this thing that I would recommend besides, like, Flexecution, 44 bars. That's about it. The rest of this album, forgettable, honestly. Next is Everybody. Everybody knows the most popular song, which is I've been on the low, I've been taking my time. I feel like I'm out of my mind. It feel like my life ain't mine. That's from this album. This album kind of sucks. This album kind of sucks. This is my least favorite Logic album. A lot of people like to say that Logic forces the narrative of each of his albums down your throat a lot, which I very much so disagree, but I can see it on this album. Like, this album, he very much does force the narrative down your throat every single song. And it comes off very obnoxious, very... I don't know if self-righteous is the right word, but, like... I don't know, just not very good. There's a couple songs in this thing that are alright, like, again, 1-800, great song. There's another one that I really like that I'm forgetting the name of at the moment. But other than that, this is very, very trash. And there's some really long songs in this thing that don't really need to be there. And there's this, like, narrative on the album. This is another album with a story to it. And I don't vibe with this one very much. I just find it to be far less interesting. And it's quite boring. I'm going to put this album in F, honestly. I just really don't like it. I really don't. Next is Bobby Tarantino 2, which I like more than Bobby Tarantino 1. I think this is the best of the three, if I'm being honest. It has the highest highs, that being the song Indica Badu. This is the best song from all three of these. I'm just going to put it in C, because it suffers a little bit from the same issues Bobby Tarantino 1, where a lot of it just kind of blends together, is forgettable, one ear out the other. Though while it is good, and I do think generally is higher quality than Bobby Tarantino 1, I just can't put it any higher than C. Though there are some bangers on it, like again, Indica Badu is a very good song. Next is Young Sinatra 4. Don't ask me what happened to the rest of the Young Sinatra series. They're not on Spotify. They're not on this tier list. I haven't listened to them. So, this one is the only one that's like an actual like studio album. So I guess it counts. And I've heard it. And it's not going to go in B. I really like this album a lot. I'd put it in A, above Under Pressure. This is an album for, if you like Logic, like if you're a fan of Logic, you're going to like this album. If you don't like Logic, you're not going to like this album. Like, this is an album for the Logic fans, essentially. It's like all of Logic's isms end up on this thing. There's not really a story. It's mostly just like a banger collection of sorts. There's some other songs that are like kind of not, but like it's far more interesting than the Bobby Tarantino's. Far more interesting. The highs in this thing are very high. The lows in this thing are pretty far and few in between for the most part. There's some tracks that are just like, I don't know, nothing's bad on this album. It's just like some I just don't really like. I have to be in that specific mood for. And when I have to be in a specific mood for something, it makes me less inclined to go back and listen to it, you know? And this album, well, it's a very good full album experience. I think it's I don't know, it's kind of one of those albums where you kind of pick what you like from it and you listen to those. For me, anyways, and I feel like for a lot of people, that's what they would probably think as well. But I do think overall, this is a very, very great project. I just don't think it's... Well, this definitely is one of his best, for me. But, I don't know. I feel like, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty unremarkable. And fails to kind of find a bit of an identity. But it's very fun. It's a very fun album. 100 Miles and Runnin' is probably the fastest I've ever heard anyone rap, ever. Even faster than Eminem. And a lot of that crap. Busta Rhymes, whatnot. Very fast. Like, unintelligible. But, another song, Ordinary Day. One Day. There are more that I'm just forgetting at the moment, but they're very, very good. And I like this album a lot. And that's where I'd put it. Supermarket is an album that people love to hate for not really any reason. Like, why do people hate this album? I don't get it. His singing is genuinely really good. This is a pop rock album. This isn't a hip hop. This is pop rock. It was meant to be like, it's half a soundtrack for his book of the same name that he wrote around the time that this was released, because it's meant to tie in a little bit. So there's some songs here about the book, and there's some other songs about his wife, which this is kind of his The Big Day, I guess. Though this is definitely better than The Big Day. Though, Secret About Me, I actually really like The Big Day. I think it's a pretty good album, but don't tell anyone I said that. But this album, I do like Big Day more than Supermarket. But I feel like for most people, this is better than The Big Day. His singing is really good on this thing. There are a couple songs that are just kind of, they're not the greatest. Like Best Friend is too long for what it is. Damn, that's kind of it, honestly. The rest of this album's pretty freaking good. I like a lot. I like a lot of this album. I like a lot of it. A lot. I'd put this album in B. Because, like, it's not up to the same quality that Under Pressure, Young Sinatra 4, and The Incredible True Story are at, and everything else is going to go in these two tiers later on. But it's leagues above these, also. Like, it's pretty good. Like, give it a shot. Like, don't listen to people that say it sucks. Like, yeah, there's some corny bars on here and there, but I feel like that kind of gives it its charm. And his singing is genuinely really good. DeLorean is a fantastic song, one of Logic's best songs. Can I Kick It is a good... There's a lot of covers on this thing. Like, half covers, half, like, takes on songs. Like, Can I Kick It is one. Baby is another one. There's one more that I'm just forgetting. But the closing track on this thing, I Love You Forever, is a very good song. Very good. One of Logic's best closers. It sounds like a closer, which I love. And I'd recommend it. Don't get the hate for this one, honestly. Next is Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which when I first listened to this album, or when I was about to listen to it, I was warned that this album sucks, and that this album is one of his worst albums, and is terrible. And I listened to it, and I'm like, no, not even at all. Like, I feel like people feel the way about this album how I feel about everybody. People say that he shoves the narrative of this album, which is essentially just like the internet sucks, and like fame in the internet and how that affects people. That's kind of the vibe that this album goes for. Not even really. Like, the first few songs touch on that, and then the rest of this album kind of doesn't. Like, it loses the narrative pretty quick. But I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. There's like a couple bad songs on this album that I do think are bad. Like Clickbait is one, and I think Bobby is another that I don't like. Yeah, those songs suck. But the rest of this album is honestly kind of goes hard. And the first two tracks, the opening track is probably my favorite. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, it's the title track. It's pretty good, honestly. And Homicide is on here featuring Eminem, which is a very popular song that I do really, really like. I like the song Wannabe a lot, actually. It kind of goes hard. And the closing track is also pretty good. Keanu Reeves is a good banger. Cocaine's a good banger. Icy is a good banger. There's just a lot of bangers on here. The rest of it's a bit forgettable and kind of mid. And then there are the bad tracks, like I said. I'd put this in B below Supermarket. Like, it's a perfectly fine album. Like, it's just kind of a bangers collection of sorts for Logic. In a different way that Young Sinatra was. Young Sinatra is just a bit higher quality than this. Though I do find this album quite interesting in the grand scheme of things. And that's where I'd put that. Next is No Pressure, which is the album that Logic said he was going to retire with, and then he didn't end up retiring. This album is just Under Pressure, but good. No Pressure is a fantastic album. I'd put it below The Incredible True Story. These two flip flop back and forth in my head a lot because they're pretty damn close. This is an S tier album from Logic. Some of his most mature production, mature bars, like he just sounds like he's got his eggs in one, like he's got his ducks in a row essentially on this thing. It's very good all around. Fantastic tracks. Not really anything bad on this thing. There are some things you're just kind of a little bit okay, this is good, but I'd rather be listening to the better songs on this thing. I feel like I'm saying a lot of these things describing these albums very similar to one another because I feel like I've said that before. I don't really care. This album's very good. The highs in this thing are Celebration, Heard 'Em Say. Perfect is one of his best bangers ever. Especially the remix version of that song is very good. Hit My Line, Soul Food 2 / Aquarius, though I don't really care for Aquarius that much. What's another one? GP4, Dad Bod is very good. I'm not really a big fan of Five Hooks. A to Z is like okay. And the closing track, my biggest complaint about this album is the closing track because this is the album you're retiring on. And the closing track is an instrumental that sounds really good at first, and then it transitions, like the beat goes away in like the first minute, and then the rest of it is just a sample of this dude talking about slaves for some reason. And that's the way you choose to go out? Really? That's the biggest, I think that's my biggest complaint with this thing. But overall, this thing is fantastic, and I'd put it in S. Next is the third installment of Bobby Tarantino 3. This is the album he released to people a year after he said he was retiring. And then people realized he wasn't retiring. And then he dropped this. And I think this is not better than Bobby Tarantino 2. But they're pretty much on the same sort of level. I have listened to this one the most because it's the only one on vinyl for some reason. And I have it. I put this in C, right below Bobby Tarantino 2. It's the most memorable for me, honestly. But nothing's like amazing on this thing. There's some pretty good songs. Nothing like incredible, like I just said. There are some songs that are kind of mid. Like, I can't really name any of these songs off the top of my head besides Stupid Skit. It's a skit, but it's so goddamn funny. It's so goddamn funny. It's the funniest skit I've ever heard in my life. It's so good. It's the best thing ever made. And that's all I have to say about Bobby Tarantino 3. It's mostly just the same out of all these, but just a bit more memorable, but the highs are not as high as Bobby Tarantino 2. Next is Vinyl Days, which is his next full-fledged album of sorts. This song is 30 songs long. It's only like an hour, but a lot of these songs are skits. And that makes this album very difficult to sort of listen to because while it is very cohesive and it's a very interesting full album listen, it kind of throws you for a loop because you never know what's going to be a full song, what's going to be a skit, and what's going to be just like kind of like a minute-long interlude track. Because there's a ton of skits on this thing that are interviews from people that Logic knows, essentially. One of them being infamously Anthony Fantano, who's on it, on one song. But the songs that are here are actually quite good. And I do genuinely enjoy a bit of this album. Though I do find it's not really boring, but it's just intimidating to kind of go back to just because it's hard to find the songs that you like. And the songs I like are so far and few in between because of how many skits there are that it makes me not really want to come back to this. Though the highs on this thing are quite high. Like, Bleed It is just straight up a Beastie Boys song and it's very good. What's that one song? God, I cannot be blanking right now. Shoot! Alright, I'm looking up Spotify real quick. Give me a sec. I have to, because this song, I know I like this song a lot. The song is Therapy Music is very good. And, Where is it? Where is it? Where are you? Breath Control. Breath Control is phenomenal. Breath Control is phenomenal. Those songs are super good. And there's a couple others that I'm forgetting to mention that I know that are also really good. The rest of it is forgettable and just kind of blends in with the rest of the skits. And I would probably never be able to pick them out in a lineup ever. Just because of how many skits there are really detracts from it, I think. Though it is the point of the album to have so many skits. It's just like, I don't know. It makes wanting to come back to this thing a bit more challenging. And it makes it, as a whole, I wouldn't say less interesting. Well, yeah, I'd say less interesting. It could be a lot better, but I'm going to put it at the end of B tier. It's good. It's an interest, like, listening to this album for the first time is cool. But it's cool. Get the songs you like. Make sure they're songs, not skits. And then that's pretty much it for this one. Next is College Park, which is a very nostalgic album for me. And also probably one of his least talked about albums for whatever reason. It's actually very good. I went on the tour that he did for this album in 2023, I think? Yeah, 2023. This album is very good. This album is fun. It's another narrative-driven album. There are skits on it, though there are less skits on this thing. And I think the story being told is cool. It's alright. I think there are a couple of skits are pretty funny. There's not really any bad songs on this thing. They're just kind of like mid songs. But honestly, this album is best when it's a full album experience. When you pick apart specific songs and listen to those individually, depending on the ones you do that with, you're not going to have as good of a time as if you just were listening to it all the way through. Though there are some exceptions to that. Like I think the title track is very good. I think what's another one? Wake Up is very good. Lightsabers, phenomenal. Red Pill 7 samples Alberto Balsam by FX Twin, and that's always a good thing. There's some bangers on here. A Shimmy with Joey Badass is very good. Village Slum is incredible. High Life is a song I see people dog on, which I kind of get, I guess, but I like it, I guess. I'm going to put this in the A tier. I'm going to put this at the top of A. I really dig College Park. I really like it. Next is his most recent album that came out in 2024, besides Live and In Color, which I have not heard, and I don't know what this is. I've not heard either of these, and I don't really care to because this is a collab album. I'm not really interested in that. It's also like really long. Ultra 85, which if you're a Logic fan, you've known about this album's existence well before it was even released. Years before it was released. It's finally out, and what do I think of it? It's his best album, easily. This album is genuinely phenomenal. Not a single bad song on it. Everything is so interesting about it, and the narrative is a continuation of the incredible true story. It's a prequel to it, but it's so cool. It's so good. The songs in here are just so on like a different level from everything else that he's released. It feels like we've come full circle with his discography. I feel like his discography is at a pretty perfect point at the moment, honestly. And yeah, these songs are awesome. Mission Control, Paul Rodriguez, Deja Vu is really good. Fear is really good. Ghost in the Machine is Logic's best song. Listen to that. Please listen to Ghost in the Machine. That song is so good. The only song in here that is like is probably City in the Stars. Oh well. Antidote, very good. One of his best bangers. Teleport, phenomenal song. I mean, just the songs in here are just so well put together. It just sounds so much more, I guess, mature. Not to say that he wasn't mature before, but I think he's reached like a different level of creativity with this one, and I think he really accomplished what he set out to do here. What do we think of Little Jonathan? I don't know what that is. But yeah, this is my Logic tier list. If you like it, cool. If you don't, again, I do not care. Second to last artist for this stream is the Arctic Monkeys. This is probably my favorite band. Yap Stream. the entire point. That's the entire point of this stream. I don't know what you expected. But yeah, Arctic Monkeys. Let's go, Arctic Monkeys. My favorite band probably ever, I think. Yeah, you really should listen to them, Highway. You really, really should. And I will let you know which ones you should listen to. We're going to start with their very first debut album, Whatever People Say I Am. That's what I'm not. A lot of people say this is their best. And if you think that, I get it. I get why you would think that. Me personally, I don't think it's their best. I just don't think it's their best. I think it lands more so in the kind of in the middle of their catalog. It's very well put together. Like for a first time album, it sounds like garage rock music. It sounds like they're in a garage making music as kids. It sounds like that. It's an album about like nightlife in the city in the UK. And it really sounds like just an adventure. It sounds like an adventure of just the average bloke, you know? And there are some incredible highs on this thing. Like the closing track, A Certain Romance, is probably my favorite song from this thing. It's just an incredible display of music. I bet you look good on the dance floor. Phenomenal. When the Sun Goes Down is so good. Marty Bums, so good. I even like the little tiny, like, not really interludes, but like the shorter songs like, Red Light Indicates Doors Are Secure, and the other one you probably couldn't see for the lights, but you were standing straight in front of me, or whatever that song is called. Really long song titles for whatever reason. Those are really good. Fake Tales of San Francisco, Dancing Shoes, very good. From the Ritz to the Rubble, very good. I'm probably forgetting a couple. But the only song on here I don't really care for is All You People Are Vampires, which is a bit boring. The second half of the song is really good, but to get there you kind of have to sit through a bit of a boring song, honestly. I'd put this in A. This is an A tier. This is a really, really fun album. One of their best, obviously. It's just so good. It's just so good. Next, favorite worst nightmare. This is what I'm talking about. This right here. This is easily the hardest they've ever gone. This is a punk rock. This is punk. This is a punk album. I'm going to put this in S. This is my favorite Arctic Monkeys album. And one of my favorite albums of all time also. This is probably top 5 albums ever for me. Very nostalgic also. The best Arctic Monkeys songs pop up on this thing, like 505, which I do think is their best song. Brian Storm is so good. Teddy Picker. Not a single skip. Besides one. Do the Bad Thing. Or Just the Bad Thing, I think is what the song is called. It's not a bad song. It's just a bit jarring to listen to, honestly. And I think that detracts from this album a decent amount. Other than that, everything on here is phenomenal. Fluorescent Adolescent is a 10 out of 10 song. It's so good. This House is a Circus is phenomenal. This album is pretty much the debut, but a bit faster, a bit heavier, and there's a layer of distortion through the entire album. Like, Alex Turner, the lead singer, has like a bit of a distorted vocal filter on his voice throughout the entire album, and it sounds so good. It sounds so good. It's just amazing. This whole album is incredible. From start to finish. Incredible album. Like, if you like punk music, if you like just heavy songs that go fast, that go hard, you're gonna like this a lot. Next is Humbug, which is an album that I wish I could rate higher. I wish. I really love this album a lot. I just can't rate it as high because there's just so much that's just better that they have. But I really like this album a lot. This album is a departure from the first two. It's more stripped back production-wise. It's a bit more psychedelic, but it retains the heavy nature that the first couple of albums have, though it is stripped back production-wise again, and introduces more instrumentation from like psychedelic aspects and whatnot. And I think this is a more experimental album than their first two, and it's a very interesting listen, especially the first time around. When you're used to these two, it's definitely a change of pace. That being said, this album goes hard. Like the first song, My Propeller, it's not about his penis. It's like the lyrics make it sound like it's about his penis. It's not about his penis. It's about drugs. It's about drugs. It's not about his dong. It's about drugs. But the instrumental on that song is very, very good. And it's very desert rock. It sounds like it's a very desert rock inspired album. There's a lot of that. Crying Lightning is a banger. Danced Little Liar is one of my favorite Arctic Monkeys songs right now. There's a lot of this thing. When I first heard it, a lot of this sounded kind of forgettable and kind of drags at a certain point. But like once you really immerse yourself with a lot of these songs, it really doesn't do that. Everything stands out. Cornerstone is a beautiful song. The Jeweler's Hands is a really just grandiose song. Pretty Visitors is just more punk, but like the distortion, it's like punk but with no distortion, if that makes sense. Like this album sounds like Favorite Worst Nightmare without the distortion and a bit more psychedelic. And there are some definitely slower moments on this thing, again like Cornerstone, Fire and the Thud, which I don't really like Fire and Thud very much, honestly. And I don't really like the song Dangerous Animals also. I'd put this album in... I'd put it in A. It has to be below their debut. It has to be below. Like, I really like this album. I want to put it higher so bad, but I can't. I just can't. Next is Suck It and See. Now, don't let the title of the album fool you. It's actually British for don't knock it till you try it, essentially. And this album is easily their prettiest album, their most like this is a love album through and through. And it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, this one. It goes from like really upbeat, happy, really shimmery, summery. It's very shimmery sounding. It's very upbeat, very probably their most lo-fi work up until this point. It's probably their most mellow like rock album that they have. It's very pretty. The title track is my favorite. Suck It and See is my favorite song on this thing. It is a very beautiful song. It is a very beautiful song. Same with Love is a Laser Quest, which is probably their most depressing song. It's just so good. Every single song in here, besides, I don't really like Reckless Serenade that much. And there's another one in here that I'm forgetting that I don't really like. Oh yeah, Don't Sit Down Because I Moved Your Chair. I want to like that, but I just kind of don't. Library Pictures. While I like the song Library Pictures, it's just very... It doesn't really fit with the rest of the album, because that's like a very fast, almost punk kind of, sort of. I don't really know what genre you'd put that in. I guess maybe punk. But that's on here, I guess. And it doesn't sound like the rest of the album. This is one of my favorite Arctic Monkeys albums. I think it's extraordinarily underrated, and I think more people need to give this one a shot. Especially, like, when I first heard this album, I pretty much swept it under the rug because I was like, all of this kind of sounds the same. But no, everything here is just so distinct. Everything here is so... just pretty, honestly. It's a very beautiful album. Like, lyrically and sonically. And it is poetry. This is a very poetic album. I'd put it in A, above their debut. I think that's where I'd put it. It's not quite S, but it's close. Next is their popular album, AM. This is the one that pretty much rocketed them into the mainstream of sorts. Well, they were already in the mainstream, but this has solidified them. A lot of people like to dog on this album, say it's too radio. This album kind of invented radio. I'm not gonna lie. This album kind of invented radio. And I think that we can cut it some slack for that. This album is incredible. I'm going to be honest. It's incredible. It's just so good. Very nostalgic. This album's like 12 years old now at this point. And it's just getting... And honestly, it just gets better with age. I'm going to be honest. Pretty much every single song in here is phenomenal. There are a couple that just kind of like... okay, whatever. And those songs are the closing track, which I think is a bit overrated, I'm going to be honest. And then the song, the first half of Mad Sounds, the second half saves it. And I used to not like I Want It All, but now I do. I get the appeal of that one. I'd put this in S. This is an S. I don't think it's as good as Favorite Worst Nightmare, because again, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. I mean, this is up there, but I just don't think it's better than that. It's popular for a reason. Listen to it. Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High is so good. This is a lot more poppier than their other albums. It's also a little bit inspired from certain hip hop. It's got a bit of a hip hop flair to it. There's no rapping on it, but there's just a bit of hip hop influence, and it's very poppy. Do I Want to Know is probably the most popular one from this album, which for good reason, it's one of the best. Are You Mine is probably my favorite song from here. It's a banger and a half. And then the rest of this album is just cake. It's very good. Next is Tranquility Base, Hotel and Casino. This is a wee bit of a concept record. The story of this album is there is a lounge singer in a hotel on the moon that he opened on the moon because people are now deciding to populate the moon, and it's getting all gentrified and whatnot. And it's basically just this lounge singer's perspective on like modern day technology, the future of technology, and just commentary on the earth below. And it is not your average rock album. It is a lounge, like, crooner album. It is a complete departure from everything they've done so far. Like, it is so different from all these. And it's so unbelievably good. It is so unbelievably good. Like, this album is genuinely amazing. I know people that think this is their best album, and I see why. It sounds so, like, this is, like, production-wise, this is their best produced album. It has the most effort into it, I think. And they're really committing to the story here, which is very, like, compelling and very intriguing and makes me want to listen to it because I want to just, like, hear what this dude has to say, because it's just so good. And this album is, like, funny at times, which usually I don't really like joke songs, but these songs aren't jokes. It goes for a very campy tone, and it works so well because it's just so unserious, but it's very good. It's like, it's not a joke, but it's so good. It's so, I don't know if I'm coming across very well. You kind of just have to listen to it to know what I mean. But the songs on this album that I love the most are the title track, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, is a banger. The Ultra Cheese, which is a real name of the real song, very good. The closer of that is really good. The Bat Phone is a really cool song. 4 out of 5 is phenomenal, obviously. Science Fiction, American Sports, Golden Trunks is super underrated. There are a couple songs here, like 2 songs in here I don't really care for, that being The World's First Ever Monster Truck Front Flip, which is the real name of the song. I don't like it very much. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I feel like it does the concept the worst and is the most boring. And then She Looks Like Fun, which is a really funny song, honestly, with the lyrics of it. But overall, I just think it's like one of the lesser good songs. Not to say it's bad at all, but that's what I think of that. I'd put this, where am I to put this? I think I'd put this in S. I'll put this in S, below AM. This is an S. It's very, very good. And I'd say I want them to do more like this, but I think if they did more like this, it'd make this album worse, honestly. I feel like I like this being like its own one-time sort of deal. But it's not really a one-time sort of deal because they did it again, though this time it's very different. This one has a lot more serious of a tone. This is The Car. This is their most recent album. And it's, again, it's more like classical music than it is like a jazzier sort of thing. It's very classical. There's a lot of string arrangements. It's a lot prettier. It's a lot more cleaned up sounding. A lot more processed sounding, honestly. And I do think this is their worst album, just because I feel like, I don't know, they really should have went back to their roots instead of trying Tranquility Base Hotel Casino a second time. But this is definitely a different vibe from that album. And while I do think this album is good, I just think overall, I don't know, it just doesn't have the highs that the other albums have. And the songs that are here, while nothing's like inherently bad, there's just a lot of like kind of that I'm just not really all that there for. I'd put this in B. It's good, but I don't know. I'm just like, if I wanted an album like this, I'd listen to Tranquility Base, though this album is very good, and I can find that this album is probably, like, if I were to put on any of these albums to have on in the background at like a function or something, and there was like a mixed age range of audiences, I'd put on The Car, because I feel like this is the one that would be most agreeable for everyone to listen to. But like, it's, a lot of it is kind of like background music, I'm gonna be honest. It's very regal sounding and fancy sounding, but a lot of the lyrics on this thing are just nonsense. Like, and that was the case with Tranquility Base as well, a little bit, but like, you could decipher these, and then something would come of that, you know? This, no. Nothing, there's no deciphering this, there's no story here. And if there is, it's too buried for it. It's like, it's too clever for its own good, I guess. How's it going? Going good. How you doing? And that's my Arctic Monkeys tier list. I think we're done with that. If you disagree, I don't care. We're moving on to the last tier list of the night. We're doing Death Grips. This is what we're doing. We're doing Death Grips. Death Grips are a experimental hip hop trio. Well, they're hip hop, but they're also like, they're a genre of their own. If you know Death Grips, you know what I'm talking about. They're very heavy. They're very loud music. Metal adjacent, I'd say. First, we're going to do Ex-Military. I'm not going to put it in C, but we're just going to leave it there for now. Ex-Military is their debut mixtape. It's technically a mixtape, but it's one of their albums. It fits right in with the rest, and this album is fantastic. This is one of the best, like, debuts I've ever heard. It's loud. It's a loud, aggressive project, and it's so unique from the rest of their albums also, and it's just so well produced, so well made, and Ride, who's the lead vocalist of Death Grips, sounds so aggressive on this thing. Like, more so than some of the other projects that we're going to talk about in a sec. Songs I really like from this are Culture Shock, Lord of the Game, Beware, Guillotine, obviously. I Want It, I Need It is so good. Tachyon, of course. Clink is very good also. Bad songs, I think Blood Creepin' is a pretty bad song. I do not like Blood Creepin'. I think that's just like, yeah, that kind of hurts my ears. It's also way too long. Spread Eagle Cross the Block also kind of hurts my ears a little bit. I can't say that one's mixed all too well, produced all too well. It's very rough around the edges. It sounds like unprofessional as hell. Like this was just made in someone's computer in like a week. But like, it was like a deep web computer or something. I don't know. But this album is very good. I'd put this in A. Not my favorite from them, but it's very, very good. Next is probably the album everyone knows them for. It's The Money Store, which is definitely their most accessible work, I think, which isn't a bad thing at all. There are some very high highs in this thing, but I'm gonna be really honest. This is not their best album. I don't even know if it's top 3, honestly, for me. It's like good. It's pretty good. I'd say it's great. It's a great album, but honestly, I struggled to listen to this one just because it kind of bored me, honestly. Like, Get Got is a great opener, and The Fever is great, and then you go into Lost Boys and then Blackjack, and I just get really bored. Those songs bore me. And then I've Seen Footage. It picks the tempo back up. I like the songs The Cage a lot, as well as Hacker, obviously, is pretty good. I don't like it as much as other people do. I like System Blower a lot. System Blower is probably my favorite from this album besides Get Got. Double Helix is underrated as hell. Bitch Please, fantastic. Fuck That's probably my least favorite from this album. I don't like that song very much. Punk Weight is like okay. I'd put this in A just because the highs are very, very high and I think it is very consistent. I just think parts of it are pretty boring for the most part. And I think it's a bit overrated. Next, don't look at the album cover, kids. It's No Love, Deep Web. This album is very, interesting to me because in recent times I've kind of come back to it, and I've been listening to it quite a bit, especially recently. I've been listening to this one, and something about it kind of hits me right, not gonna lie. It's a much more interesting experience than the Money Store. I'm gonna be totally honest. I think it's better than the Money Store. I think the highs on this thing are so incredibly high. I think the vibe of this thing is much more unique, much more. It makes me want to listen to it more. It's a lot more like there's a lot more like room in the mixes of these songs to kind of like digest a bit more. It's not as accessible as the Money Store, but it's more easy to listen to than something like Ex-Military, where you kind of gotta be in the mood for that one because it's so abrasive, so loud. This one's not as loud, but honestly, the production on it is just, I really, really like it. Black Dice is one of my favorites. No Love, of course. Come Up and Get Me is very good. The closer, Artificial Death in the West, is one of my favorites from this album. Hunger Games, stuff like that. World of Dogs, Lock Your Doors, fantastic songs. I'd put this above the Money Store in A. I very much enjoy No Love, Deep Web, and I think it's growing on me. There are some songs I don't like on it, like Deep Web, Stockton. I really don't like Stockton. Pop is pretty good. Little Boy is a little boring. There's like parts of that song I like, but and there's some other songs in here that I'm forgetting that I don't care for very much. Next is Government Plates. This is the one that people don't like that much, but I kind of do like it a lot. It's definitely not their best, nowhere near their best. This one's mostly just a techno. Honestly, it's a very techno album. A lot of this album is very instrumental. There's lyrics on pretty much all these songs for the most part, but honestly, they take a backseat. Loki might sell the Powers That Be vinyl because he only played it once. Fair enough. I actually bought Powers That Be for $13 at my record store. They had it pretty much new in the used section. Like, I don't even know if it's ever been played. They had it for like $13. That's crazy. That's a very good price for that. But this album, honestly, I really like the vibe of it. It's techno. It's dance music. Like, this is what Don't Tap the Glass wishes it was, honestly. But this is not background music. I could listen to this on my computer. I could just put this on while doing something, and I vibe to it like hardcore. The first two songs, which are Pillbox Hat and Bonnie, those songs are probably my favorites from this album. I also adore the song Big House and the closing track, Whatever I Want. You bought online for $50 is local vinyl store. That's crazy. Mine, I also bought mine used. So that it's great quality. It came perfect. No skips on it. No like scratches or anything. I put this in B because yeah, it's not up to the quality of these, and there are some songs that are bad on here. Like Bootleg is a bad song. Birds is very, 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 very weird, and don't know how I feel about that one. Feels Like a Wheel feels like a wheel. Government Plates is pretty good. The song, the title track, Government Plates is pretty good. This is Violence Now is alright. Overall, this thing is very good, but I feel like it's more like an individual song experience than the whole album, honestly. Like it's one of those where you pick the songs you like, leave the rest. Then I don't blame you. But I mean, if you do decide to listen to this thing all the way through, it's not bad, but I don't think you'll ever want to do it again, honestly. Should you invest in buying the real Ex-Military vinyls? No. You're going to be spending all of your money on those. The actual ones for this are, like, crazy expensive. I don't have an Ex-Military. I have the rest of these on vinyl, but I don't have Ex-Military. I'm going to buy a bootleg of it. I'm not, like, forking over hundreds for an actual official version. Next is Friends on the Moon. I'm not going to say the actual name of the album because I can't. This is a very interesting album because it's the first half of The Powers That Be. Now, if you don't know Death Grips, The Powers That Be, which is this album, is a double album that consists of this album, which is Friends on the Moon, and Jenny Death. The first half being this, the second half being this. I don't care for this album very much. That's not entirely true. I like the vibe overall of this album. I just don't think it does enough with it, and I think it's too short. I like Up My Sleeves a lot. I love that song. Billy Not Really, very good. Black Quarterback, very good. Big Dipper is very good. The rest of it, though, is not very good. I mean, the song Have a Sad Come, Baby, which is the real name of the song, is not as bad as it sounds. It's pretty much just an instrumental song, and it's a very good instrumental song. But overall, yeah, don't really mess with this one all that much. I actually think I like Government Plates a bit better. I'd put this in C. Genuinely better than Jenny? I don't think so. I think Jenny is phenomenal. I think Jenny Death, which is what we're talking about now, the second half of the Powers That Be, is genuinely so good. Like, every song in here besides Psst, Psst, I don't like that song. But every song on here besides that is so good. This is a very, like, guitar-focused song. Like, there's an emphasis on guitar. And it's loud throughout this project. Like, turned off, the guitar on that song is so loud. It's incredible. Songs like Centuries of Damn, On GP, some of their best songs. Break Mirrors in My Face in the United States, which is the real name of the song, by the way. Inanimate Sensation, so good. The song is fucking me out on this, or is it on Friends on the Moon? I think it's on Friends on the Moon. You're disagreeing with me most on this one? Damn, shame. I would put this in B above Government Plates. Because the only reason it's not an A is because it's too short, and I feel like it's too much all at once. It's too much just all at once. I'm gonna be honest. But as a whole, this album is genuinely an experience. I think these two albums are very different sonic-wise. Like, this one's more of like a electronic, sample-heavy album. This one's more of like more metal. But this, as a whole, it's Ness, I think. It's Ness. It has to be. This album's phenomenal. Like, as a whole project, there's so much here. There's something for everyone, I think. Like, you have to like at least a few songs from here. It's so good. Again, there are some bad tracks, like Fuck Me Out's bad. Piss Piss is boring. The rest of Friends on the Moon, a bit boring. And I don't really like Death Grips 2.0, which is the instrumental track that closes the whole thing. Don't really care for that. But overall, I think it's S. Next is Bottomless Pit. Bottomless Pit is my favorite Death Grips album. I am putting this right up at S. This used to be my least favorite, fun fact. And then I listened to it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Let me listen to it again. And then I listened to it again, and then again, and then again. And I'm like, wow. This is really something right here. Bottomless Pit is the heaviest Death Grips album, I think. It's the most metal. There's a lot of guitar on this thing. There's a lot of just... It's a very heavy music. Giving Bad People Good Ideas is their heaviest song, and it melts my ears in the best way every single time. Hothead, so cool. Spikes, really cool. Warping is one of the two songs in here I just don't care for. The other one being... Shoot, what was the other one? Shoot, it might just be Warping. I think Warping's the only song in here that I don't really like. The freaking outro songs on this album, like everything from... Hold on, let me look up the track list so I'm getting the, like, the proper order here. Just so I don't mess up and look like a fool. Yeah, literally everything from 3 Bedrooms in a Good Neighborhood to Bottomless Pit, which is the closing track on the album. Amazing, incredible. Like, so that's such like a good 4-track run. 3 Bedrooms in a Good Neighborhood, Ring a Bell, 80808, holy crap, dude. Bottomless Pit, holy crap, dude. And then Houdini is a banger. Trash is a banger. Bubbles Buried in This Jungle, banger. Is probably the most tame Death Grip song that has lyrics. It's very good. BB Poison is one that I want to like more than I do, but I just kind of don't. It's like good. It's pretty good. I just like, it's going to take time for me to like that one a bit more. But I think overall this is a phenomenal album. This is very, 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 very good. I love this to bits. Love this album. Next is their last album, but they're currently making a new one, which they announced. I don't know if that was true. They might be lying. Streaky's Tamer Than Eh. Yeah, I can see that. Streaky is a very good song. One of my favorites from this album. I don't know if it's my favorite song off this album, but it's up there. I'd say my favorite from this album is probably Black Paint. Black Paint is in... Holy crap, dude. I would put this album at the... I'm gonna be honest. This album is very weird. This is their weirdest album. I'd put it at the top of A. It's just such a surreal listen. Like, if you... this album is W2TF, the album. Like, it sounds like how the album does. Like, grimy, dark, weird. It's very rock-inspired again. But it has more, like, elements of... kind of jazzier elements. Like, especially the song Dilemma is kind of jazzy. The Fear. Dude, The Fear is such a good song. Streaky, such a good song. Death Grips is Online is one of their best openers ever, and that was like one of the first Death Grip songs I ever heard, and that put me onto them. The closing track, Disappointed, is a bit disappointing. I'm gonna be honest. That's one of my lesser favorites from this thing, as well as Little Richard. I don't really care for Little Richard very much, and the various instrumentals on this thing, like the horn section and the song Outro, which isn't actually the outro of the album, don't really care for those. But the rest of this album is actually very, 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 very cool. Very strange album. Like, front to back, strange. This thing goes through, like, a roller coaster. It's also, I think, like, one of their shortest albums also. So, like, if you have, like, an extra half hour to spare and you want to listen to something that's, like, weird as hell, this is what you want to listen to. Like, I kind of want to put an S, but it's not on par with these. It is a bit too short for what it is, I think. I wish it was longer. That's my biggest gripe with it. But that is my Death Grips tier list. And that is the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out to the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. I did. I had a lot of fun talking about these albums. I had a lot of fun yapping. I had a lot of fun just talking to y'all. Talking about my opinions. Showing off, I suppose. And I'll see you guys next stream. I'm probably going to do Puppet Theater next stream. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, peace, y'all. Have a good one.